Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Moon Harvest, Amish Earther, Naughty Thumbnails, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, the name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMels24, Unimento, M Iron26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, More Books, Kenna Bear, Fiber Oats, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Tina Baker, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
About suggestions, Brian has a lot of ideas about like putting video in the horizon.
Yeah, I've been speaking to Brian DM. So yeah,
Okay.
it's all just gonna hopefully just move forward, just move forward together with you guys. You know what I mean? Got a hell of a lot going on at the moment, like everybody else. Like I say, so I'm just trying to. I mean, I've had about 1 hour sleep last night, but anyway, I'm all good. Not complaining or anything. I've just got a hell of a lot going on. So yeah, hopefully all being well, just all really just it's going to be good. You know, as we move forward. That's the way I see things, anyway. I'll be back in 5. I'm just going to be away for 10 minutes.
Is everybody gone?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, I have to go settle some kids. I'll be back.
Oh, that's just me then. Hello, people in Discord.
Hello. Hey, good morning, Nathan. I was going to get to my mic and break up the dead air, but I didn't. Good morning.
Morning.
But I was the only one in here, so I would be talking to myself.
No, I'm definitely here.
Okay. Yeah, did you have a good weekend?
Me? Yeah. Well, it was all right.
Haven't got the same old crazy going on around the world, I guess.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the news. I have no idea what's going
No,
on
I
half
don't
the
either.
time.
Yeah, I hear you. No, you just have to kind of pay attention to reality, right? The BS. The BS is reality, huh?
It's the reality for some people. Hope we have a good show today.
Oh, good. What do you got planned?
Not that I've got something planned, it's just that it's been 14 months of mucking around with a computer to get it to work correctly. And, you know, 3 graphics cards, 3 hard drives, a PCIe riser, 6 sticks of memory, 15 fans. Later, you'd hope that it would just work for the next 5 years. You know what I mean? And this is like that
Yeah.
that day. It's had a new graphics card after a load of fundraising, which I will have to do a proper video and thank everybody for. But I just want today to be a show that goes off without a hitch. You know, especially the computer. I just want it to work correctly, and then by the end I go, oh yes, I've got a computer doing all of this stuff, haven't I? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Say a prayer and we'll be off and running. And I'm pretty sure everything will work fine, Nathan.
I hope so.
Yeah, it will.
Well, it's literally hours old, and I'm testing it. So it came in yesterday, and I was testing it and going, the memory looks like it's a bit hotter than the other card. And then I gave Craig a ring and said, look, it does need a little bit of adjustment. And he's taken it in, he's made those adjustments, and it is exactly the same. So, because it's within spec, so it might just be, I mean, it's a different card, so it might just behave slightly differently. But yeah, the memory's just 10, maybe 12C hotter than I would expect it to be, which isn't the end of the world, I suppose. Just not
Have you
ideal. Say again?
I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say, have you seen the latest humor? RV put out a video. Did you see that about Arwen? It's
Arwin?
pretty funny.
RV
Well,
as in Russian vids?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can post it in the main chat here, I guess. But it was pretty funny, right? Well, I mean, I don't know what to think of it, right? It's the kind of world we're living in. But anyway, RV puts it out. Now, he hasn't put it out any work for quite a while. But anyway, Arwen is, it starts out about 20 seconds of his voice, and then it switches to I don't even know what you want to call it, AI or whatever, computer. And then hanging, cussing you out.
RV cussing me out. Are you sure it's
Well, I
him?
mean, just
It's something that I need to address.
no, it's not Arwen. That's what I'm saying. I'm just mentioning it to you because of the. I really get a kick out of right now. We're really up against the what do you want to call it? The make believe, right? I mean, it's a make believe video that Russian Vids put out. That's what's kind of hilarious about it. They
Okay.
post it. It's
Because
only about 2 minutes long.
RV They Live Truth is the name of RV's new channel since it got wiped out. And he's had loads of that. But nevertheless, a troll in the meantime took over his name, Russian Vids, and then left a comment on my video while I was e-begging for a new graphics card and said, you've got money, you don't need to e-beg. So then on one of the streams, I addressed it. Now, when I looked at the channel, I had a quick, admittedly a cursory glance at the channel, and it was like, yeah, it's got 18,000 subscribers. That's got to be him. So, it was, in my mind, worthy of comment. If RV's, I do take it to heart. I like the guy. So I'm going to address it. But then Chronicles of the Unconvinced, which is now Chronicles of the Cats, formerly Bobby Zines, got in touch and said, that's not RV, that's a sock. I was like, oh, okay. And he actually got in touch with RV and asked. And sure enough, RV responded and said, yeah, that's definitely not me.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then I spoke to him. So, either yesterday or the day before, via Skype, I had a natter back and forth about Pallywood and various other media hoaxery. And we had a nice little chat.
So what's his real channel called again?
You're a
They
little bit
live,
low, right?
they live truth.
Have it. Is it, eh? Let me.
Yeah, they live truth. That's Russian Vids' current channel, and that was not the guy telling me don't be e-begging. Not that I'm
Yeah,
sure
'cause
Russian Vids
the
has
one.
a comment or opinion either way. I didn't intentionally ask him, are you okay with me? No, I didn't ask him that. It's like, he obviously hadn't got a comment to give on it, but one of his sock accounts, not him, but someone else pretending to be him, did. But I wanted to address that. I might address it again on the live show, on the actual live show.
Yeah, you're right. I see the video, and then that video that got taken over is the one that has the Arwen video.
Is that
Now
on
I have the
They Live Truth or Russian Vids channel?
No, Russian Vids channels has the
That's not
Arwen
him.
video, but the They
Well,
Live
that's not.
Truth is does.
Well, that's
I
not.
know. You told me.
Yeah. So if it's a parody of Arwen, that it's not RV doing that.
Yep.
I mean, it might be. You
I
know,
got you.
it's he's a normal bloke.
No.
I mean, it's not beyond him to take the piss out of us, even though he likes us. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's capable of doing exactly that very easily. He's just a bloke, isn't he?
I'll be right. Yeah, I'll be right back. I got a voice verify somebody.
Well, with RV Truth, like a Russian Vids, the idea that he would another YouTuber would attack a YouTuber for wanting to keep, be able to live stream. Just I don't know. It seems weird to me.
And he didn't, as it turns out. But Harvey's very opinionated, generally speaking, which I like about him. You know, if there's something you or I did that he didn't approve of, he'd be the first to tell you. But he's not going to make some video slagging you off. Generally speaking, he's the type of person that would just contact you. Go, what the hell's all this about? Which I like. I like people who are very upfront.
Yeah, I do too. I can deal better with that than the backbiting stuff. You get that a lot where people are smile to your face, but then they want to turn around and say things,
The other thing is, when I've seen Harvey actually moan about people in this community specifically, you typically see him talking to them first. In other words, he'll try and do some sort of video interview with them or something with them, communicate with them in a kind of public way, to show that he's not just going to go, I dislike this person, and here's my reasons. It's like, I dislike this person. I've spoken to them and addressed the issues I have with them. They didn't give me good responses. That's his attitude. And you're like, yeah, right on. That's how it should be.
Well, that's a lot more reasonable than just, I guess it'd be gossip, wouldn't it? Gossiping about someone.
That's what I said to him, because he got in touch with me after, I almost doxed him, after Chronicles of the Unconvinced got in touch with him. Almost doxed the other person. I'm nearly doxing both of them because I know both their names. Let's be careful. Okay, let's try that again. So Chronicles of the Unconvinced had contacted Russian Vids, and Russian Vids then contacted me proactively. And he left me a voice message on Skype, but I can't play them on my iPad, and the computer was down at the time, so I just literally couldn't play it. And I said to him, I assume this is in regards to me moaning about you, moaning about me, doing e-begging when it wasn't really you. I understand. Chronicles of the Unconvinced explained it to me. Hopefully that's what this is about. And he was like, yeah, it is, but it's fine. And at the end of the conversation, I was like, as always, you're very reasonable.
Well, didn't you do a little bit of didn't you do a cursory glance at the profile, and it had so many thousand subscribers?
Yeah, which is what I told him, and he's like, yeah, well, he's managed off the back of my name and a couple of crap videos with voice changes to build a little reputation off the back of me. You're like, now, if you imagine, at some point, Russian Vids has probably had subscribers in the 80, 90,000 subscribers, and then lost the channel, right? And then suddenly you're in a position where your soccer account's got as many subs as you've built since you lost your channel. So he's literally got a soccer account that's got as many subs as he has.
Is this a private?
Just real quick on that, I was thinking for the alternative community. I don't know what I guess conspiracy community. Why don't they have like or someone could create a channel that just keeps up with the YouTubers that constantly lose their channels, so that when their viewers are looking for them, they have a place to go and find out what they're currently named. And that could be like their whole shtick, is just to keep up with who's who now.
Can you hear me, guys?
I can.
Is this private channel?
What do you mean, Russian vids? No, public.
No, this that we're in now.
How do you mean?
Like, does this go live, or is this just a private members group? Or I'm
No,
just
this is-
trying to understand how this works. That's all.
Well, you've seen the show, right?
Yeah.
You're in the main panel of the show.
Okay.
Is it?
But will this go live?
Yes, but no. What you're in won't broadcast. I'll broadcast from OBS. But the software that you're in can broadcast live. I just don't use it for that.
Also, if Nathan's here, assume he's recording. If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm just trying.
Oh,
yeah, I'm just
yes, of
trying to-
course you're new. If you ever see me anywhere online, assume I'm recording. Always, without question.
Okay.
If I'm not, there is a greater likelihood of me telling you I'm not recording at this very moment. That is very few and far between. But occasionally, I'll be, no, I'm actually just testing my computer at the moment, and I've just stayed in here so I can test if the sound disappears or not. In other words, it would be stupid to be recording this, but I do need to be connected for sound.
Okay, understood. I just wondered if anybody actually communicated like showing their face, or whether that's not a good idea, or I've got a difficult situation that I'm in. But at some point I would like just for you guys to know who I am, where I'm situated, where I'm like the room I'm in, where I'm when you hear me speak, what's going on. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know whether this is a good idea or not. Certainly not. I've got to be very careful. So
there's an after show you can do that in, and that would probably be the best place for what you're talking about.
Does anybody do this, or do you keep do you show your face, John, or?
I have, but I'm kind of ugly, so I try not to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Obviously, I'm new to all this. I am quite technically minded. I have my own studio, but I'm sort of very familiar with all that. But all this Discord thing and just all of this, it's wow. You go into the settings of Discord. Well, when I first joined Discord, I didn't even know that my profile was showing me as being an earther. I went into the settings and I couldn't see anything relating to that. It was only when B, the moderator, told me. So I'm just new, just trying to figure everything out. That's all. Just trying to figure out how you guys work as well. That's all.
There's not much structure to how we work, except for logical structure. That's about it. Like if someone makes a claim, then they support it. Otherwise, we just go off of like whatever video is lined up, or if someone makes a claim in Discord or something like that. It's very rare that we make any claims.
Okay, no problem. For me, If it works for you, Nathan, the best situation for me is always a Wednesday. There may be opportunities for me to join in and out of things other than a Wednesday when I can. But I mean, this as far if you're happy, I could you know do a come do a Wednesday and do a presentation. This one that's lined up. You see all the videos that I uploaded to Master B. You see those, Nathan?
Have they just
Those
literally been
pictures, sorry.
uploaded now?
I uploaded them last night.
I haven't, I'm afraid.
Right. Do I? Well, they're in there. Do I need to? How does this work then? Do you just go back to those or?
I'm doing that now. I'm just trying to find them.
What did you video while he's looking for those?
So the whole of the so you know the first presentation, John, that that was a screenshot. Those two 84 times 169 times magnification of Flat Home Lighthouse, they were screenshots from a 4K 30 FPS video. So what happened is we panned from I don't know if you recall, but the first location view pic looking up and out, where the tide had gone out, and I was talking about Seabank Power Station. We panned literally almost 180 degrees all the way around. So this is like a 35-minute recording, 10 gigabyte in size.
Okay, I've got a whole bunch of stills, which is great. So is this what you want to use, right?
Yeah. So Nathan, the when you get down to, I think it is so basically the first couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, just needs to be a brief recap of last week. That's for anybody who was listening last week and anybody who might be new. It's relevant to both because it's the same location.
Okay.
And then if you get down to, so that's like the first, I think that's the first like 11 picks. And then once we get down to, I think, hang on, just let me scroll down. It's, so after pick 23, I put it, there should be some text in there that I put because what I did is I've cut this 35-minute, 10 gig video into a 6.5 minute chunk. It was 1.9 gig, but then when I tried to upload it to Master B, it was stating that it's a 300 meg file size limit. So what I've done is I've because I really was so reluctant to share my screen, but what I've done is in my Mac setup that I have here, I've hidden all the desktop icons, so we're good. So once we hit that point, I don't know how it works, but we need to then share screen so that I can then play this 6.5 minute video. If you're good with that.
Is it yours? Yeah.
Sharing screen. Hold on a sec. Sharing screens in Google Meet is a lot more difficult than you think it would be, because I think you have to join. I don't even know how to do it. But everybody that tries to do it, they either can't get the picture to go or the sound to go. Brian, Adam, and Quantum Eraser are the only ones that I've seen that have pulled it off successfully, but it's like a second one of them joins the meet.
Do you want to try this now then, Nathan, and see if we can do it? Because
yeah,
it's the video is unbelievable. It's my video from that location, 4K 30 FPS. It's the first 6 minutes of that video. It's unbelievable. I've got multiple displays here. I've got 3 displays, so I wonder if that's going to even complicate things further as well. But do you want to try now?
Yeah. So you click on the 3 dots at the bottom of the page. More options.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, is it that?
Hang on.
No.
Setting.
There's a little square with an arrow that says present.
Sorry, repeat that,
There's,
Nathan.
along the bottom row, there's mute, then there should be a little exclamation mark, then closed captions, then a smiley
Yeah,
face, then
yeah.
the next
3
one is share
dots.
screen. And then,
Oh, share screen. Nathan
hold on,
Oakley is presenting.
and then at the top of the screen that comes up when you click that, there's 3 tabs. One is entire screen. I wouldn't
Just hang on
suggest
a
doing
minute,
that.
then just let me see if I can do this then.
Don't share your whole
It's,
screen. Just pick the tab that you want. So it'll say a specific tab, which is the
it says
second.
here, this will let you take off. So I've clicked the arrow with the screen icon. It's saying this will let you take over from Nathan Oakley 1980 as the main presenter. Share now or cancel. That's the options I have. So I click share now, yes?
Yes. You didn't select your entire screen though, did you?
Yeah, I haven't had any option to do that. All that's happened is I've clicked, like you said, there's the mute icon, there's the closed captions, the smiley face. Then I'm clicking the arrow up for the screen.
Mhm.
Currently, it states, if I hover over it, it states Nathan Oakley 1980s presenting. So if I click this, it states a box opens. It states this will let you take over from Nathan Oakley 1980s, the main presenter, and I'll have 2 options: cancel or share now.
Yeah, just click share now.
Right, allow meet.google.com to see your screen. Select window or screen with a drop-down box.
Right, there you go. So on that, the middle tab at the top of that page is the one that lets you pick a particular window or tab, as
Right,
opposed to.
yeah, it's showing. So there's quite a few options here, but I'm going to assume that I'm clicking VLC because that's what the video is that I've got loaded into VLC. So there is about 10 different options. Screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, which I'm going to assume screen
Yeah,
1 would be my main 4K display, which is what
you
the
want the
video's
tabs
on.
at the top of that page. There's 3 tabs. So at the moment you're on the tab that's for sharing one of your screens, but you want to be on the tab in that window that you're in that's for picking an individual page or tab.
Okay, let me just see what happens when I do this. Allow meet.google.com to see your screen. Allow. Do you see anything?
Yes.
You see it?
Yeah, that's fine. So you've got your picture
Okay.
in the rhombus.
Yeah, so there's no audio because I've taken the audio out of that video because this was the first revelation that I had. So there were a hell of a lot of expletive with my wife. So shall I just try and play this and see if it works then? Yeah? If you
It
see the
will, but
screen.
yeah, feel free.
Okay.
Yeah, that's working
You
fine.
see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a train 10 miles away. But the thing is, now we're looking directly over the seabed. There's no water to hide behind. But it's incredible. And this is the first test that I did. So the maximum magnification I could get at that time was 169 times. And like I told you, it's got a hell of a lot better since then. But yeah, I've got loads of stuff lined up. What I would say, Nathan, is because this is not available anywhere, so it's not on YouTube. I'm gonna in due course, I'm gonna be uploading stuff to YouTube and Odyssey, but it's not available anywhere. So are you able to screen record this?
How do you mean?
Like, like with for example, NVIDIA, they have a screen recording option in their um, gaming experience, GeForce app. You can then record the screen. You can record this
Okay.
video.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if I just play this and then come out, we come out in the presentation, then it's only me that's got this, but I'm happy for everybody to have this. You see what's going on?
Kind of. Yeah, great. Yes. Whatever, no problem.
What sort of quality are you seeing?
Well,
Are you,
well,
Good. I can blow it up and make it even
he's
better.
going to be sharing your. Go on.
Don't worry about the quality. So long as it looks good to you at your end as you're playing it.
yeah,
It will look
it's
look
pretty
good at
damn
my end.
impressive. It's pretty damn impressive. You can see what's going on. When it pans around, obviously, it's not an autofocuser. So occasionally I'm having to just refocus and stuff, but it's astonishing, really. And then when we hit the point in the presentation where there's a water outlet, it's directly on the seabed. So we're 0 meters at the other side. We're shooting across to 0 meters at the other side, and it's incredible. And it's about just short of 10 miles away. So hopefully you're getting a reasonable image. But anyway, this is all that can be done for now. Anyway, as long as you can see it.
May I ask how high you were at this point relative to that train?
It's the same, so it's all the same. Observer, all of this 4K 30 FPS video is what was shot from that first presentation location at 1 meter observer height, 0 meter on the seabed. And that is almost 10, just short of 10 miles across. And the water's gone out.
Wow.
Wow.
Because I thought
I had to, John, I had to take the audio off because the expletives, you know what I mean? It was just like.
Without the expletives, fill us in on the sentiment.
I couldn't believe what I was fucking seeing.
Without the expletives.
Well, look at it. You can follow all this, right?
Okay, right. Lesson number 1. No, I have no idea. It just looks like some buildings. You're going to have to break down why the expletives, why this is amazing. Assume,
Right, but
rather than tell you, I'll just tell you about Robin Poe. Right, so just bear with me. I know you've shown me your footage, but just bear with me. Robin Poe explained that she'd got a 115-mile straight line of sight with a radio transceiver when she was in the army. And it wasn't protocol, it wasn't to the book. There was supposed to be relays every 22 miles or whatever it was. She couldn't get a relay out in Italy, in Ferrari, because there was mountains in the way between her and the next relay. But between her and the original point source, 115 miles away, was a direct line of sight. If Earth's flat. She never said that bit. She only explained about the line of sight and the transceiver and the relay stations and the mountains and Ferrari. And when it got to I got 115-mile direct line of sight that would not be possible if there was a sphere Earth edge in the way. Earth could only be flat to do that, was not what she stated. But you're saying, oh, this is amazing. Why? I don't. It just looks like a picture of a building. It means nothing to me. I understand, but you've got to assume I don't.
Right. Well, what I was going to do, but I don't know if this works with screen sharing. But so I don't know if this is going to work because
don't worry about anything.
No,
what do you mean? What are you worried about? Screen sharing? I've got that bit covered. Don't worry about that.
Right, because so what you need to do is you need to look on Google Earth and you need to, like, I've got Google Earth open up now, but I can't select that screen. I'd have to go, what do I do? Do I come out of this and share the other screen? So let me just try this.
No, it's fine. Stop. You've put Google Earth for the place on Skype.
To show then what you're looking at, what I'm actually panning down around and
bear
looking
with me.
at.
Yes, it's on Skype, isn't it?
Well, no, I could actually share my screen now and just show you the line of sight and grab hold of the...
I'll try a third time. You're just not listening to me, Tinfoil Hatman. It is on Skype, isn't it?
An image of it is, a snapshot, but not an actual live, thing where I can show you the panning of that.
Okay, right. It is now presented to the audience via Skype, and bam, just like that, we're back on your imagery. Easy.
What do you mean?
I mean, I've got that bit covered. Don't worry about it.
Okay. If you do the point I'm just trying to make is, if I'm not explaining myself correctly, is that if I've taken a screenshot of Google Earth from our location across to like Seabank Power Station, so you'll see where we're looking. Basically, the point is that if you match that once the video hits Seabank Power Station with the one chimney up, you will, if you go to Google Earth, then from those coordinates, just short of 10 miles, you can then pan and follow what the land is that we're following down as we follow it down. So you can see precisely as you move down everything that we're looking at. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at?
Well, what
No,
I was getting
no.
at was when you've got an image specific to what you're talking about, then I can bring it up from Skype and then very quickly go back to what you're presenting on screen now, which is the actual imagery. But it sounds like you want to make this more complicated than it really is.
Right.
In other words, if
Can I help you out a
if
little
on
bit?
screen you want to go to Google and show us the line on Google, then fine, just do that. That's fine too.
But I can't because it's only sharing this screen.
Yeah, I mean, you have to stop sharing where it says stop sharing and then pick a different tab from the same process you've just done. But it's
Where does it stay stop sharing?
at the bottom, or it should in one of your windows, one of your monitors will have a little grey oblong.
Okay, so just stop screen sharing. So let me do this. So then if I go to screen share again, but this time select, hang on. Which one would that be then? No, it's not that.
Real quick though, what Nathan was trying to get at is why is that such a wow moment? And I think I can help you out with that. For why it's a wow for me, seeing that at 10 miles, you know,
Yeah,
because
I'm struggling to share and the other screen that I've got the Google Earth open up on. So where? I don't understand. I've got me VLC. Where? Just bear with me one moment, please.
yeah, I don't know if it's translating real well. What is it called? A conclusion, I guess would be the reason you said wow. You know, you just got to articulate it. For me, the angular size of that train at 10 miles and to see that much clarity on it just isn't. It means it's an amazing instrument you're using to view it. That's why I said wow. You know.
Yeah, understood, John. When I got to this video section, what I was hoping to do was before, so show the video, like literally just before it starts playing, then go to actually live Google Earth so I can then control it and just show where we're looking from to, and then grab hold of the place mark at the other side where we're looking at these buildings and stuff, and then just drag around so that you can actually see in real time. When you're going to watch the video, you can see exactly where we're going. But I'm struggling to just share the screen that my Google Earth is on for some reason. Again, just bear with me 1 minute.
Yeah, this. If you don't have it ready by the live show, it would probably be best to maybe table it until you have a chance to get your logistics together for it. You know what I mean?
Not play the video, you mean?
Well, maybe play the video, but not use the Google Earth part of it because the dead air can take away from your presentation. And remember, there's an entire panel of sometimes trolls trying to jump in, and if they hear a moment of silence like that, it'll be their cue to.
Okay, what
to
I'll
take
do then,
away.
because again, I'm new to all this, and it's a bit stressful, you know what I mean? And in particular, like 5 minutes to go and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just stick to the presentation as I've got it. When we hit this point, Nathan, we'll just need to share screens, and then I'll just before I play this video, I'll just explain a couple of things about it, and I'll just let the thing run. Once we hit 4 minutes 51, I'm going to pause the video, and then the pictures after that, Nathan, that are in Master B, actually then we can go in and look at the water outlet that we're looking at almost 10 miles away, and hopefully it'll all be self-explanatory by the time we've finished. And then after that, we can get the technical stuff sorted out, and then this is just honestly, me and my wife just couldn't believe what we were seeing. But yeah, it needs. I agree. It all needs doing properly. But at least at 4 minutes 51, we hit a point, and then we know. I know precisely what that is, and I've done some screenshots that are in Master B. If you just follow the Master B pictures down, we should. Hopefully, this will all work. This presentation, hopefully. Does that sound all right?
Yeah. Other than the wrangle-dangle of how we present it is far less important than the conclusion that you make. So far we're getting the passion and the exasperation of what you're seeing, but you mean
the fraudulent Walter Bisling mathematics only calculators and all this?
No.
You mean all this?
No. You're really not picking up what I'm putting down. We've only got a minute or two before we start a live show. Right.
Tell me quickly, and then...
You meet a guy in an elevator, and he tells you that it's a nice day, and you've just seen this. And you tell the guy in the elevator what you've just seen. Okay? What are you going to tell him?
I've already had many conversations, because when I'm out and about with this thing, people approach me, and literally...
Ding! Well, it was nice seeing you. I'm off to my floor now.
No, I'm just telling you.
I know, but the journey's over.
In real life.
The journey in the elevator's now over. I've got to go. I'm really sorry. Thanks. It was really interesting talking.
It's like, see that over there? Yeah. According to heliocentric globe model, it states that we can't see that, but yeah, we can. And you see in their eyes, most people you see this thing go, and it's like that seed that's just suddenly gone in. And then you say, oh, well, they say the explanation for this is refraction, but it's a load of rubbish. And I can explain that to you as well if you want to know why. But it's basically just, it goes like that, and you see it in their eyes. It's just, you can see something go, and it's like, oh, have you got your maths wrong and all that? Well, oh, no, I'm just showing you what's over there. That basically.
Much better. We see it because it's there. Earth is flat.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get better at this, and understand. And I'm not going to play the violin, but I've got so much going on. Horrendous situation. So I'm just trying to do everything the best I can and learn as I go along, and hopefully improve as I go along. And I've got this full presentation lined up. Hopefully this is just going to run a lot smoother. It'll be whatever it is, Nathan, and then we'll go from there and make all this shit better.
That's right.
Okay, is that all right?
Yeah, that's good. Try not to swear.
My apologies.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Faith.
Morning.
Hello.
Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Well, you'd probably have to get an angle if you're a heliocentrist. That means you need a flat Earth to get the distance to the sun in the heliocentrism religion.
What are you saying? You're going to need a flat Earth for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put out a whole bunch of videos off the back of Friday's show. So, depending on your taste in length, I suppose, there's a 30-minute version, 2 for 1. Shout out to Godzilla37 for smashing the super chat. He says, "Oh, it's live. Won't be fooled again. Wondered why you didn't read my super chats the other day, lol." Well, thank you for both of them. Sorry I didn't see the other one to read it out. Godzilla37. Thank you for smashing the super chat right now. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so check them out. They're all called similar names, words to the effect of orbits prove a flat Earth. And there's a short, which is less than 60 seconds long. There's a 10-minute version with the most concise I could make the full discussion with one of the two, what would we call them? Globe proponents? Anyway, whatever we're going to call them. But then there's a third, the 30-minute full, pretty much uncut version back to back. So how it was as live, just not all the fluff that came before, none of the housekeeping questions, just those two debates. So there's 3 versions of the same essential discussion about how orbits prove a flat Earth. Now, somebody in the comments, when this video is one of them was airing, said, all right, that's your claim. You say orbits prove a flat Earth, define orbits. And I said, no, I'm afraid not. Someone came to us with a claim of orbits, and we pointed out how their globular claim of orbits required a flat plane. This isn't a positive assertion that I'm going to be making. Why would I be asserting orbits as a flat earther? I'm not. But your orbits that you assert as globe believers require a flat Earth as a plane of reference. Earth is flat. As is the case with the distance to the stars, also derived from flat plane measurements on the equatorial plane using the dome of the presented view that you have of the stars. That is how it is done. You're going to need a globe for almost anything that's claimed to be measured in globe world. Flat Earth is going to be required. Every single time. Great year to be a flat earther, I would say.
Maybe instead of distance to the sun, could it just be any celestial distance?
I like distance to the sun, though, because it's the one that gets quoted the most, right? Your 93 million mile away sun is fairly well known by your average Joe normie. If I asked man on the street, what's the distance to the sun, there's a reasonable chance that he would actually say 93 million miles.
But even with the stars, right? And they want to assert that the light's coming in parallel, it's still coming in parallel to a plane for them to get the angle.
Yeah. You're going to need a flat Earth for the angle measurement to the sun, to any of the celestial items. They're all utilising the same exact system off the equatorial plane. There is no exception. You're going to need a flat Earth for it. Might as well shout it from the hilltops.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting the guy went on to deny that his plane of reference, the plane he was referencing, existed at all.
Yeah, they think it's imaginary. They're referencing a plane. That's the ground you're standing on to talk about the stars and your view from that ground. And when you describe them, with angles for the sake of argument, you describe them with reference to the plane. Now, when they do exactly that, because as you put it, John, and this will go down in history, you need a flat plane more than we do. So that when they assert orbital mechanics, because I'm not asserting it, and neither is John, as he pointed out in that discussion, this isn't our positive claim. We're not claiming to have the cause of orbits. You are claiming orbits, and when you claim orbits, you need a flat plane to reference to describe them. That's the end of that discussion, because you're going to need a flat Earth for it. Orbits, that is. And almost everything we're going to discuss from this point forward. Moving into 2024, you're going to be damn sure about hearing any claim that comes out of a globe believer's mouth being pointed out how it needs a flat Earth first.
Well, in essence, his response to needing a flat plane is to say, the basis for my claim is imaginary, so my entire claim is imaginary.
Exactly. But not just imaginary about something globe-shaped. The starting point to assert you're on a globe by reification is to imagine a very big flat plane. That's just starting point. So you can call it imagination when we're measuring, navigating, and dealing with mapping reality. And you can say that the plane we measure and deal with and navigate and move along It's just imaginary because it's a flat plane. But we're going to be referencing that flat plane, and so will you for your orbits. Share your pain in the comments, Globe Believers. It's all over, but for the crying.
Yeah, it is. That's he wanted to go on to assert a tangent, which needed a flat plane as well to assert that a tangent exists below surface level. They're on the other side of the mirror.
Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Never.
Not that I'm aware of.
Does not compute.
Okay, so ever since my first foray into this subject, Math Powerland has been talking about turning telescopes horizontal. And today we've got a presentation from Tinfoil Hatman. And here is his depiction of his very nice telescope, Celestion, being horizontal. So we're not going to be looking at the stars through this telescope today. But what we are going to do is have a little recap of last Wednesday's foray into this far away land we call Earth in the 10-mile distance that we're going to be looking at it. So I've got your telescope on screen as the first slide if you want to recap last week, Tinfoil Hatman.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone from here in the UK. Much love and respect to you all. Thank you for having me again.
It's a pleasure.
Calling this. Sorry?
It's a pleasure. I know it was rhetorical. I waited the right. Timing is everything.
Likewise, Nathan. I'm calling this presentation Seabank Power Station and Friends, Bristol Channel, England. Please feel free to interject if anyone wishes to ask me anything. Those that do not know who I am TFHM, aka Tinfoil Hatman. Apparently, I'm a complete nutter. Someone who just doesn't understand. Someone who knows not what he is talking about. Far be it for me to concur with this, I'll simply let you all be the judge as to whether this is a true reflection of me or not. Certainly my wife at times doth agree with this sentiment. And for clarity, should any of you see just an average guy on a beach somewhere in the UK with an absolute beast of a telescope, up a ladder, wearing a Mexican sombrero hat, know that is me. Contrary to popular opinion, the hat is not for fancy dress. It's for keeping lens flare and reflections away from the eyepiece of the Seeker telescope. As it turns out, there is actually method in the madness.
Right, did I just pick up on you saying you do actually wear a tinfoil hat when you're doing this stuff?
A Mexican sombrero hat.
Oh, okay, fine.
It's big and it keeps the lens flare off the eyepiece.
No, that makes total sense. I understand that.
Okay, right. So Nathan, I've uploaded all of the pics for this presentation into Master B. You see these?
Yeah, I've got your telescope up now.
Okay. First part of this presentation is a brief recap from last Wednesday, necessary for both those that watched last week's show as well as those that didn't. And again, you'll just have to excuse me. I'm still just trying to shake this cold. This is due to the pics and video footage you're about to view being from that same date, time, and location. Okay, let's get straight into this. Pick one. This is my observation equipment, the Truth Seeker telescope. In case anyone was wondering, the Gatling gun on the side is a Class 4B 450 NM blue laser. It has a range of around 20 miles. Pick two. Next, Nathan, this is our location view from the 22nd of August. Pick 3. The truth seekers' observer height was set at 1 meter above ground level. Pick 4. Another view of that location. Again, Nathan, just to confirm, I can't actually see what you're. So I'm just going to assume that you're looking at pick 5
Indeed.
now.
Yes.
This was the so pick 5. This should be the direction we were looking in for Flatholm Lighthouse, as discussed last week. You should see in the distance a couple of little isles. Are we in the right picture? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick 6 next, showing the distance to that lighthouse, and importantly, showing the direction we were facing. Pick 7, showing our precise location and elevation. We were located directly on the seabed at an elevation of 0 meters, bottom right. Pick 8, showing a zoomed in snapshot of that location. And for clarity, last week I misspoke when I said this was Google Earth's maximum zoom. It is actually possible to zoom in a little further than that picture shows. Pick 9. This is actually a screenshot taken from a 35-minute 4K video recording from that location. Pick 10, showing a closer, more zoomed in image, again taken from that same video recording. Pick 11. I'm going to assume a lot of you have seen this as a typical representation of a, quote, boat going over the horizon. So let's just turn our attention back to the second picture, Nathan. Could you just go back to picture number 2?
Sure.
Which represents our location view in almost the opposite direction now of Flatholm Lighthouse. You see this?
Yep.
So in that picture, Nathan, pick 2, you'll notice that the tide has gone out, and my wife and I shot video footage right the way from the top left part of the image, you know, the bit where the land juts out, panning all the way around and down to the right-hand side of picture number 5. So picture number 5 should be the one with the rocks on the right-hand side now. Do you see this?
Yep.
So basically we did almost like, I don't know, like what you'd call it, a 180 sweep. So, excuse me, pick 12. This should be the Wikipedia entry for Seabank Power Station. Do you see this, Nathan?
Yep.
It doesn't contain any useful height or elevation info, but if you load up Google Earth, you can hover around the topography for that area and see that its chimneys are 70 meters in height. There's a building to the right of it that's 30 meters in height, amongst other useful topography data. Anyway, more on that shortly. Pick 13. This shows the distance data from our observer location to the power station itself, which was just short of 10 miles. Are you seeing this, Nathan?
Yes.
Next pick, 14, showing the distance data to the A4037 road, located directly in front of that power station, directly in our line of sight. Again, this distance, you'll see at the bottom, was just short of 10 miles at 9.64 miles to be exact. You see this?
Yes.
Pick 15, next pick. Somewhat ironically, Google Maps showing an articulated lorry at the exact same spot you were about to see. No such thing as coincidence, right, guys? Oh, and please note that when I use the term guys, I am in fact using it to include everybody, both male and female.
We
I
don't.
just
We
don't
don't
like
care
the
about
term.
that. Don't worry
But
about
I
those.
don't
sorts
like the term folks or peeps. So
we don't care.
I mean,
Don't worry about that.
okay. pick 16. That should be detailing the topography of that area of the A403 road, which, if you can see, is 8 meters above sea level, and you'll see in the bottom right that that's displaying that. Next pick 17. That's a picture detailing the topography of the power station, which itself sits on a foundation of 5 meters above sea level. So behind the A403 road then. Do you see that?
Yes.
Pick 18, next pick. This is the Omni-Earth curvature calculator. It's important to note that the geometric horizon, according to the fixed and definitive model of the globe, as presented to us, can be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. In this specific case, then, the obscured object part of the image you're about to see should be 11.2 meters. Apologies also, because I prefer meters to feet as well. Pick 19, the next pick, showing the obscured part for Seabank Power Station, which is nearly 12 meters. Okay, to the point then. Pick 20, next pick. So, the yellow articulated lorry you see here should not be visible according to the globe model. To the best of my knowledge, the average height of an articulated lorry here in the UK is around the 3 to 3.5 meter mark. So, add that to the 8 meter elevation above sea level of that road, and we clearly do not live on a globe.
Cool.
Next pick. Sorry?
Cool.
Next pick 21. Showing the obscured object part for that lorry. Again, 11.2 meters. According to Walter Bislin's very fraudulent and very deceiving advanced Earth curvature calculator, without any of the mathematical only refraction he has decided to apply. Pick 22, the next pick. Now with him applying some of that standard mathematical only refraction, yet unbelievably still showing that nearly 9 meters of that image, pick 20, should not be visible. Pick 23 next, Nathan. Now going hell for leather with his extreme mathematical refraction settings in order to magically bring the articulated lorry back into the observer's direct line of sight. At this setting then, amazingly, everything simply pops back up into view. At this point, Nathan, excuse me, I was unable to upload the video footage I have due to the upload size limitation of Skype. And so we'll need to share my screen at this stage in order to view it. So can we
Yeah,
go
that's
ahead and
okay.
do this now?
Yeah, if you sort that out, I can provide the audience with some background music. Dun, dun,
Well,
dun, 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 dun. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, interestingly enough, in that calculator, which if you're trying to figure out the Earth curve or whatever they want to call it now, eye level and surface level are utilized as horizontal planes in that calculator, not as a curving Earth.
Amazing. You see this, Nathan?
Yes. Did you pick up on what John just said? It's one of the points I'm going to cover later as well, John. But did you hear what I know you
I
didn't?
didn't hear
That's
it
fine.
fully.
We will come back
Sorry,
to it.
Tom, I was just doing something else. So
No, that's
I'm
fine.
sorry. I didn't
We
hear
will
it.
come back to it and cover it shortly. All the aspects
You
of
don't
what you're.
actually need to hear it to know what it's going to be. It's going to be you're going to need a flat Earth for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
yes. But we will explain why. Just saying that doesn't mean a lot, Arwin. But yes, right. We've got your image on screen now.
Okay, so just before I play this video, which is 6.5 minutes long, it's a section of the 35-minute 4K video recording that I have, panning the whole of that area. The first, just briefly, just to explain, last week I was trying to explain how this first observation, the iPhone was actually spinning physically with the zoom as you zoom in and out. So what's happened here is if you look in the top right, this is VLC. So this now is a screen recording. And what I'm trying to do here is when the image zooms in and out, I'm trying to wrestle with these controls just to try and stop it from going upside down, so that you all don't have to stand up and look at it upside down when it zooms. So you kind of will see.
If you can start playing it, because obviously it's 6.5 minutes long, so you can be explaining all this as we're going along, rather than us doing it while it's just on a still. Just hit play and we'll talk as we go, because otherwise we're going to have a lot of dead air.
No problem. Just if you keep your eye on that top right, though, you're going to miss the main event. Okay. All that remains for me to say then is everyone look and say goodbye to the globe. So this is about 10 miles away. You can check all this and verify this in Google Earth, Google Maps. I've put all my observer location details. They're all available. And we're about to start panning right, and we will hit Seabank Power Station, which you'll see that yellow articulated lorry.
You can see lots of traffic.
Yeah. So this is just short of 10 miles away. This now is Seabank, and do you see this yellow articulated lorry coming now into view, which is what the snapshot was of pick 20, yeah? So you'll see it come into view. You see? There it is. Seabank. We know that this is 8 meters. We know this is about 3.5. Supposedly there's 11.2 meters not visible, but we see everything. So what I'm probably going to do now, like I say, if you go onto Google Earth and put the coordinates in of our observer location and then shoot across, you'll be able to pan and note precisely everything that you're looking at. As we pan right, everything that's coming into view, you can get a distance to it, and you can, for a lot of it, you can get height data for it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to let the video play until we hit the 4-minute 51 mark, which is 4 minutes 51 seconds mark, which is an important point.
Cool.
But yeah, just watch. Hopefully you're getting a good resolution. Here we go.
So we had John's reactions in the pre-show. So obviously, if you remember, check it out, because we got to see it for the first time while we were queuing all this up, this presentation. But what we went through with Tinfoil Hatman was explaining the nitty-gritty of what we're seeing. Well, there isn't actually any explanation required whatsoever from a flat Earth perspective. The only thing that, from a debating point of view, that needs to be addressed is in Tinfoil Hatman's presentation, he's got some globe mathematics that require a flat plane to assert. In terms of this, which is fantastic, very clear, great imagery, we're seeing this stuff because it's there. We don't have to disclaim that we're not having something obscure our view of it. Looking at lorries 10 miles away, it is that simple. Across the flat plane, goes without saying. Earth is flat.
Yeah, and the actual assertion, if you wanted to be in line with the geometry that they're using, would be they're asserting a physical geometric obstruction to the plane of reference, which sounds silly when you say it that way. That's why they always ask us about our physical obstruction, because they're the one that's using the plane of reference to physically obscure things. It's a burden reversal and a claim reversal.
And a hijacking a perspective that leaves them in a position where they may also ask you, a flat earther, why can't we see New York from Ireland? And the answer is because it's too small. The angular resolution is far too narrow to see at that distance. Thousands of miles, for God's sake. Things get smaller as they recede into the distance. But in their Earth curve mathematics, they have no answer for that. And because they have no answer from that, the burden of proof reversal fallacy leads them to ask us why we can't see New York from Ireland. Oh, well, because they're going to assert that Earth curve's gone in the way. Well, in reality, why would I be asking the question at all? Well, I wouldn't as a flat earther. I've got no need to assert that the horizon's a physical geometric sphere edge blocking things when it doesn't block things, as we're being shown here. As I say, as a flat earther, I don't need to make any claim. Why do we see it? Well, because we've got eyeballs? Because we've got a telescope looking at it? I don't really understand why you're asking me this. Well, it shouldn't really be there, says the globe believer. Should it not? But I'm seeing it. There it is. Why would you assert such nonsense as I'm not supposed to be seeing something I can see with my own two eyes? Oh, because you, the globe believer, believe that there should be a physical geometric sphere edge at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet blocking our view of this stuff. But there isn't. Oh, what's that? But you can explain why there isn't. I couldn't care less. Your fantasy of a hill getting in the way is not really relevant to me when I just see something in the distance.
Yes, but Nathan, I'm looking at this footage now and I saw the building wobble. So that means it's a mirage. So that means it's terrestrial refracted looming image.
You'll need
That's actually behind the curve.
You'll need a flat plane to derive. One or other of us has got to do this to him. You go ahead, John. You take the pleasure away from Arwin.
No, you do it. You do it. I've already done the Earth curve calculator.
You're going to need a flat plane to derive a radial value, Arwin. To assert.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah? If you're going to say, well, it's just solved with 7/6 of the radius value, when I explain why we're not seeing a physical geometric sphere edge at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. In fact, it's a non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a power station from behind the reified geometric sphere edge that is actually an obstruction across a flat plane derived from eye level and surface level differential calculations in our maths that excludes perspective. However, we can see the building moving, therefore it's refraction, at a rate of 7/6r, as demonstrated by Tinfoil Hatman in his presentation, or any derivative thereof. But any derivative thereof, an r value, will be taken from a flat plane measurement to give you that r value, Arwin. So no, it's not just yeah.
Well, it has to be from a flat plane if it's refracted, you know?
That's true also. But we're talking about terrestrial 7/6 of a radius globe believing derived from flat plane differential calculation from eye level and surface level refraction, aren't we?
Right, but a glober could think of the flat plane being apparent and then just using that, not thinking of it as geometric.
It gets better. Oh, it gets better than apparent. It gets better, Arwin. At the moment, we're being told, or I am being told, I don't know about we, the royal we, are being told that the imaginary reference plane that's flat is where their starting point is. So just to break that down, the globe believers are currently telling us that, oh yes, we must reference a flat plane, but that flat plane that we reference, the reference plane that is flat, is imaginary when we reference it. That's what they're saying.
I told you they would go there.
Well, not.
Right?
It's worse. I'm nearly done. So they're saying, when I want to tell you that I reify my world into a physical ball-shaped place, I will start by imagining a really big plane that I'll reference. Now, in reality, we're talking about reality and standing on the ground and referencing a plane. that there's no other, convolution or delusion that needs to take place when you are on the ground, you are talking about the stars, you are navigating, and you do have a reference plane, because that's how it all works. Then there's no ambiguity. It's just you're referencing the flat Earth that you dwell atop. For them, well, yeah, you're referencing the flat Earth that we tell atop. That goes without saying, but that bit's imaginary, because I imagine a ball below it, the reference plane that's imaginary. I've got a ball below that imaginary reference plane. And that's the real bit. The imaginary ball below the imaginary flat plane I must start with is the real bit. You clear? That's what we're being told.
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds a little convoluted.
Very. Well, you've got to solve your pain somehow if you're a ball believer.
Do you see this? Do you see
Yes.
this image? Okay, so what's been happening is we've been, if you can see my mouse here, excuse me. We've been panning down, okay? We've been coming down here. Now we've just gone past 2 wind turbines, these 2. So we're panning down. We've just come past all these units, these commercial buildings. We've just come down all these silo containers. Then notice this. See this down here at the bottom left? That's a channel outlet. Okay? So because I'm controlling the screen, Nathan, I'm just going to load these pictures up. So just bear with me. So here we go. So the distance from our observer location, bear in mind we're at 0 meter, 1 meter observer height with this truth seeker scope. We're shooting across here now. And do you see what we've been doing? That part that juts out there was the location picture view, that what I was telling you, where it juts out. So we started recording from here. And that's where the train was. You'll see. You can check all this out for yourselves. There's a train line and a road because there was a lot of traffic. You saw it. We saw the train. We saw the traffic. It's this road basically. We've been panning down here, so we've hit the Seabank power station. We've been coming down, and basically now we're at 4 minutes 51 seconds in the video. We're now here, and we're looking directly at that channel outlet. But notice the distance: 8.181 miles. So the start of it up here was just short of 10 miles to this road, and then as you're coming down, you're just losing a little bit of distance as you go all the way around here. Okay. So let me load the next pickup. So pick 27 now. Zoomed in so you can better see the outlet. So you see this outlet now here? You're seeing this, right?
Yeah, well, I can see what's on what you're sharing, but you're going to have to be a bit more specific about what you mean by the outlet. Do you mean the greyish bit on the middle of the frame on the left-hand side?
Yep, okay, no problem. Just hang on. So we go to next picture, 28.
Are you talking,
now we're right into the outlet.
Hold on. Am I supposed to be putting these pictures up, or are we looking at what you are presenting?
Well, the problem is if I want to then go back and play the video, we're going to have to come in and out of sharing. So would you like me to just carry on like this, Nathan?
That's not my question. Should I be presenting, or should you? Currently, I've got your image on screen. Should I be presenting something because you're giving me picture numbers, which makes me think I should be putting things on screen?
Oh no, sorry. I'm just no, I apologize. I'm just doing it now. So I'm just saying pick 28 because I've got them all listed in this order.
Okay.
So, but I'm happy to just carry on like this if you're good with that.
Yeah, it's on screen, so fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah. Right. So this is picture 28. So what we're doing now is we've zoomed right into that water outlet, and as you can see, this section here is 0 centimeters. Okay. You see down here? It's 0. So we're 8.81 miles across the other side at 0 with 1 meter observer height with the truth seeker scope. And we're now looking at where I've paused it in the video at 4 meters 51 at this outlet. Okay. The next image I'll show you. So now it's showing the side outlets.
I'm still seeing the same image.
Yes, but you see 3 meters now because you see these 2 side outlets, the previous image was showing that here is 0.
You're saying
Completely-
here, I'm not.
No,
I can't see a mouse. I've got the exact same. Nothing's changed. You've said you've gone through 3 images. Nothing's changed on my screen.
Right, apart
Yeah,
from down
me
in the
either.
bottom, apart from down in the bottom right here, which is now showing that
No, tinfoil.
the
You're not
two
listening
side
to me.
outlets are 3 meters in height,
Tinfoil. Nothing is changing on the share screen.
isn't it?
No, I think it's
Ah,
yeah, because I think you'll have to watch us sharing, switch between video and a other window or something. If you're I'm not sure what's going wrong there.
I see.
you're not switching.
My
Yeah.
my
You have to either present one video viewer and then slide the viewer, or you have to represent the new viewer images. Right? That's
That's what I was.
on one slide.
Right, I'm with you. I'm right. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, the best thing to do then here is that's too technical at the moment, and that's going to create problems. So what I'm going to do then is I'll just continue playing the video. Just note that I've stopped the video. Do you now see the video? Are we back to the video? Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what we'll do is, so can you see my mouse? Can you see this that we're looking at here?
Yes, we can just see black though. Where your mouse is. It's just black. Where your mouse is.
Black,
I can see a really little mouse pointer.
but you can't see the actual video.
No, we can see the video in the center, but either side it's black.
The video
Like,
is fine.
what-
Just play.
as
If you can just play the video, please. Just
Yeah, I'll play it. All you need to know is that this relates to that channel outlet.
we
and then
heard
what-
this.
I'll
Please,
play-
please,
what I'll do-
please, just press play, please.
Yeah, I'll play the video. Once it ends, I will give the screen back to you, Nathan, and we can go back through the pictures, and then I'll explain it. Okay. That's the best way to do it.
But now it's playing. This is the point to be talking.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's for me and my wife. This was our first observation, and I've had to remove the audio from this because I was beside myself. I could hardly breathe. There were some expletives being used. Basically, what's happening is we're looking across just short of 10 miles, and we're panning down 9 miles, 8 miles, and everything you can see here is across a dry bed. The tide's gone out. There's no water to hide behind now. So what we're seeing is, and what strikes me as well is this was our first observation, and I could have gone to 254 times magnification, but I wasn't able to because the telephone was butting up against the optical tube assembly. So I could only go maximum 169 times, but it is what it is. And since then, that's what really fired me off to then go, how powerful can I get this scope with actual quality usable imagery? That's the key, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because it's all well and good, like saying, oh, well, yeah, I can zoom in, but it's all blurry and I have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at. So what I'll do now, Nathan, is I'll unshare my screen, or do you just take control back? Let me just stop presenting. So do you have control back now?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay, so if you go to I think it was pick 25 now. So you know it must be.
Yeah.
It's the one after the text where I was saying that's where I'm going to play the video,
Okay.
and then we can go through that channel outlet situation.
Okay. Yeah, got it on screen.
Okay, so pick 25 because I can't see what you're seeing. That relates, and it might be quite small and everything because I have a 4K display, so it might be quite small. But what's happening is the telescope is panning down, and you'll see if you can zoom in a little bit, you'll see at the top center of the image there's 2 wind turbines. There's one sort of behind each other. So we see those wind turbines. We come down, and then we see the commercial units and the buildings, and then we see the silo containers. And then right down at the very bottom left, can you see that channel outlet, Nathan? Small, but you can see it, yeah? So if you then go on to the next picture, that's what I was trying to show you, that from our observer location, 1 meter observer height, that channel outlet is 8.81 miles from our observer location, okay? The next picture, pic 27, hopefully now we're sort of back in line with the images. That's zoomed in so you can better see that outlet. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Great. So pic 28, we're going to zoom in yet more again. So what you'll notice about that area, right, is directly in front of the outlet is a channel, and it's at 0 meter sea level. That's shown in the bottom right. Do you see? So that place mark that's in front of the channel outlet, that's actually on the bed, you see that? It's 0 meters, yes?
Well, it's chucking water out into. We say outlet. What is it? Because it looks. When you said outlet, I just
I'm not
assumed sort
100%
of
sure, but I think
natural,
it's some sort
like
of.
where a river comes out the side of a hill, whereas this is like two very much man-made looking things. I mean, what is it doing? Dumping sewage into the.
When commercial companies they chuck stuff into the river, don't they? I mean, there's always companies getting fined for dumping sewer into rivers and stuff. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that it's an outlet,
Well,
and I
yeah,
just
sure,
know.
but the reason I ask is when something's like that man-made and it's designated at 0, I'm pretty certain that that's going to be accurate because it's going to have been planned and built and made, and there it is at 0.
It's directly on the seabed at 0 meters on the other side, 8.81 miles away, Nathan.
Right.
Okay, so what happens is if you then look at the next two pictures, pics 29 and 30, what that's doing is it's showing the side parts of that outlet channel as being 3 meters in height. Again, it'll show you in the bottom right. So outlet 1, and side outlet 2. It's just showing you what those place marks are, you see? So you can see that it's 3 meters high either side. Do you see this?
Yep.
The next picture, that shows the main top part of the outlet, and that's 4 meters in height. However, if you just look closely, if you go back a little bit, it might be just slightly higher than that because there is actually like a lip section of it. But it's about 4 or 5 meters in height. That.
Yeah.
So the next picture. So that's what we were looking at. So the best thing to do now is if I just go back and re-share my screen for that video. Okay.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send it to 4 minutes 51 and then reshare my screen because that is precisely what we are looking at. Okay. So here we go. 4 minutes 51. Okay. So I'm going to now reshare my screen. So let me just click this, select the Windows screen, VLC, allow. Now, do you see back again the video? Hopefully.
Yes. Just give me a moment to make it look pretty.
Okay, so I'm not even sure if you could possibly zoom in on that, just digitally zoom via your computer. But do you see what we're looking at? We're looking at that outlet from 8.81 miles away from a 1 meter observer height.
I've got to be honest, I can't distinguish what you're talking about. Where in frame is that outlet?
Nathan, if you look along the sand to just left of the center, you see a dark area.
Yes.
That's where, that's it. That's the outlet.
Yeah, let me just see.
Sure, but in the overhead view, right, what I've got in the overhead view is a long... I have to imagine what this would look like from the front, don't I? And from the front, I can imagine it being...
the front, we're not shooting direct light of sign directly head on. We're at an angle. If you go back to the distance pic, you'll see the angle that we're actually hitting and looking at that from.
I appreciate that, but what I'm saying is we're definitely not getting a bird's eye view of it like we're being presented in the pictures from Google Earth. So I've got to imagine how that's going to translate to what I'm looking at in your imagery.
Yeah.
And it's only because it's the first time I've viewed it. I'm just struggling. That's all. I'm just being honest.
Okay, no problem. Do you see it coming into view now? And you'll see these are the silo containers. So you can see precisely where we're looking.
Hold it on frame right now. So stop. Okay, perfect. So it's now on the left-hand side of the image. Okay.
Yep.
So if I go back over here to the overhead view with the outlet and these 8 cylinders.
Yeah, you'll see behind that is the buildings. You'll see if you follow that direct line of sight,
So
you know precisely what
So
you're looking
if
at.
you can just rewind 2 seconds to put
Sure.
the outlet on the right and the buildings, the cylinder things on the left, because then I can hopefully make.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
So you see these?
Yes, they're pretty clear now.
Okay.
Yes.
So as we're coming down now, we're at 4 minutes 43. We're panning down now. Well, I mean, obviously, if you just go back before that, there's some more silo.
If you could just hit play just from here, because you pan
Yeah, sure.
across, don't you?
Just watch it. This is now at 4 minutes 22. Just watch. Those are the silo containers, and then you'll see it come into view. And that is located directly at 0 meters on the seabed at the other side at 8.181 miles. So you'll see we're now at 4 minutes 38, 4 minutes 39, and you'll see in a few seconds that outlet comes into view. Well, I mean, all of this anyway, but you see, there it is. That's that
You
out.
see it, Nathan?
Yes, I can absolutely make it out. Now I've got my bearings, so to speak. If you can just pause it on that. Now that
Yeah,
we
that's
all
what it's
know
all
what all
about, getting your bearings,
just-
Nathan, yeah. But
it's just
you all
matching-
check all this out. Check it all out for yourselves.
Sure, it's just matching up blobs with blobs, isn't it? And you've got to kind of wrap your head around how what is on screen now translates to what is on screen now. And
Yes,
now you've
about
took
the
me through it.
telescope, Nathan. Oh, sorry, go on.
It's all right. Now you've took me through it. I can now distinguish what you're talking about, and I know that I'm seeing to sea level.
Yeah.
Level.
The thing about the telescope, Nathan, is that in all my observations and tests, it's particularly when you start going up the magnification, because this is 169 times magnification. So this is what, like a quarter, a third more powerful than a Nikon P1000. But when you start hitting like 1,000 times magnification, the scope is so powerful, right, that you could be looking at something, depending on what the topography is. You could be looking at something that's as close as in the foreground as, say, 5, 10, 15 miles. And then stuff in the background is like 40 miles away. And it's like, so trying to just get that reference of where and what you're looking. But as soon as you find that reference point, you know precisely what you're looking at, everything makes sense, because from your direct line of sight and Google Earth, and then going into 3D mode, you can then just sort of see precisely where you are. And then, what picture? So, what do you want me to do? Shall I?
No. This is where you bask in glory. This is the stage where you go. So there you go. That was.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to swear.
We don't have to swear, but you just have to say, go through your. I mean, maybe rewind by 3 minutes, and let the video just play. And
You want to
we'll
watch the whole thing again? Let's do it one more time, shall we? Just.
Yeah, but we can just.
Why not?
You can let it scroll by, and we can just chit chat about it like we did in the pre-show. And I'm sure Brian's logic, who's had his hand up this whole time, has got something
Nathan,
to say.
are you screen recording this?
Yes.
Cool. Right. There we go. Back again. We're looking straight up where that bit juts out, and we're panning right across, and you'll see. And just wait until you get into Google Earth and check all this out.
Okay, just hit play and just leave it playing. Perfect.
I will.
Perfect.
I'll shut up and everybody can have a chat. I'll just be quiet now.
Okay, so there's a couple of things, like I said, while we were mid-presentation, although I think it was John or myself, I can't remember who, pointed out in respect to the curve calculations, and then I peppered it after Arwin's interjection with all of the disclaimers about what the curve calculations are. But that's what I kind of want to discuss now, because like I said earlier, when you take this claim in isolation, there is nothing for us to claim as flat earthers. There is only the positive assertion of a physical sphere edge not getting in the way, and then the excuses that come with refraction. but they're going to need a flat plane to assert radial values for the refraction in terrestrial form, and they're going to need a flat plane to describe angles of elevation when they're detailing anything with respect to the celestial derivation or celestial sphere over a flat plane derivation that gives them the globe in the first instance. So that's kind of what I want to discuss alongside this glorious presentation that we've had from Tinfoil Hatman, and alongside that, thank you for doing this, by the way, Tinfoil Hatman. So yeah, opening it up to anybody on the panel who wants to discuss it. Maybe John, if he's still around.
Oh, I was going to let Brian, because he had his hand up. I didn't know if he.
We don't do that here, but yes, that is true. He was just pocket hand putting upping.
This video is awesome.
Oh,
It is. It's good stuff. We're seeing a very long distance in very good clarity, which up until now, people have gone, oh, it's just, they'd like to hand wave it because it's just blurry. And you're like, well, here's 10 miles, and you can very much make out those silos or whatever they are that I had up on screen from Google Earth. You can see exactly what we're talking about. There it is. When we get to the outlet again, you can see how it's marked in Google Earth, what the heights are for all of these different positions, and then you get to see it on screen. Marvelous.
The scope is actually too powerful, Nathan. If I start going at some of the magnifications that I can use, it's too powerful for 8, 9, 10 miles, because you're just going to be zooming in and you're just going to go straight in through a unit building window, and it's pointless because you can't see. The maximum power magnification of the scope is only useful for stuff that's got some distance to it.
Well,
10 miles.
Do you know what seems apparent to me from looking at this footage? The first thing that it makes me think of is the fact that you're looking down. You're a very slight elevation, and yet it is apparent from the footage that there is stuff at the other end of this very vast distance, slightly below you. So across a flat plane, you're going to have the same reference point to how high something in the distance is with respect to you. And it's, well, what, a couple of meters?
Yeah, actually, when you get into it and look at the Bristol Channel, once the tide's gone out, it actually has got a dip in it. It goes below sea level. But yeah, what's very interesting is being able to resolve everything from what would effectively be, probably 2, 3 miles coming forward in the foreground, just over some puddles and stuff. But you can resolve everything all the way across, all to the banking, all the way up. You see everything, the lot.
yeah. The thing is, like, if you had looked at this with your eye, it would have just been your horizon. You would have not seen any of this. You know?
Yeah, precisely, John. It's is this? I honestly, I'm almost speechless here. Can you imagine the shock that me and my wife had? We were just. And then we had to keep an eye on the tide, because if the tide comes in furiously. We actually wanted to go out a little bit further and go out more in the seabed, but we realized it was just like I was saying last week. It was just too boggy. Do you know what I mean? It was like quicksand. So we only just managed to find this small isolated patch that was just about. It was still really boggy, but it was just enough to put some wood chocks underneath the tripod legs, and it wouldn't sink, and we wouldn't sink as well. But yeah, I mean, what did they say? A picture speaks 1,000 words. Well, what does a video say?
Good that it's got some obviously identifiable geographic features, and they're man-made, so designated very specific heights above sea level. That's kind of where I was hoping you guys on the panel were going to segue with my 2 attempted segues.
Does somebody want to point out where the Earth curve is here in any of this?
Nah.
Oh,
go on.
no.
What's important is that what I pick out of this would be a bit different than maybe most people. But just on what Tinfoil's presented, what's important is sea level, what they call sea level, is that what we're looking at is actually slightly below sea level, because sea level is when there's water there. So we're looking at sand that's actually slightly below sea level. That's what we're
Yes.
looking at.
Yeah, correct. Brian.
So when we're looking over to that outlet, we're looking directly at the sand at the front of the outlet. Like one of the suggestions I was going to make to Tinfoil was that because these kind of observations have happened before, right? But using the zoom you have, even if you can't keep the iPhone on it all the time while you're zooming, if you could zoom a bit and show the image, take the iPhone off, zoom more, show the image, take the iPhone off, zoom more, show the image, take the iPhone off. And you could even do it over this short distance where you're showing that you're zooming with your telescope to that sand that meets the rocks,
Understood,
or the
Brian.
water meeting the rocks. Don't worry about it. You don't have to have a continual video. You just need to be able to show, because what'll happen is the ballers will go mad when they see that. They're going to have to claim all kinds of nonsense. But that is something that they have to say is impossible. Which is
Understood, Brian. If I can just explain the situation. So the lowest magnification that I could achieve initially when first got the telescope, did this first observation stuff, the lowest I could go with what I had was 84 times magnification. So you're absolutely right, Brian. I'm starting with the telescope at the full magnification zoom of a P900. Are you with me? So
yeah, I understand.
So the reason I purchased a focal reducer, right? And what happens is you cannot, because of the C8 technical specifications of the scope itself, it's got a 38mm barrel. So what that means is that if you put an eyepiece that's higher than 38mm, you will get like a black spot develop in the middle, and it's very annoying. You can still kind of see everything that you're looking at, but it's just really annoying. So basically what the lowest magnification that you can get with that scope is with a focal reducer and a 38mm eyepiece, or like a 40mm eyepiece, and that will give you a starting point of about 31 times. So at the moment, I'm still just experimenting. At the moment, the lowest I can do is 41mm. I tried to go down to about 20, 25 times magnification, but it wasn't possible. You're just developing these black spots, and it's because of this. You can't go higher.
I understand that, because the scope is so. The starting point of the scope is like by 84, which is obviously a lot of zoom, and you needed to reduce that to be able to show what you want to show.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right, Brian. I was thinking it precisely along your lines, which is if I can get down to whatever the lowest the scope can do, and I know that it is about 31 times. Yes, at the moment it's about 40, but I know I can get it down to 31. Then that means, yes, you're right, Brian. I wouldn't be able to zoom, but what I could do is at 31 times magnification, take that shot, then go up to 40 times magnification, take that shot, go up to 50 times magnification, take that shot. Are you with me? And then just keep and creep up like that. And then we could literally zoom in to that outlet channel. We could go in and you wouldn't even be able to see anything because it'd just be crazy. But yes, you're right.
Well, you just need to go as far as the very. You just need to go as far as the rocks, where the rocks meet the sand.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do. Just showing that where the rocks meet the sand, that's all you need to do. Now, of course, the baller is going to try to hand wave it, because the point I would make about all this is I would go back to, not that I'm not looking for anyone to share it. If there's no need to share it, but the Walter Bislin calculator, where you can bring up the refraction, which is not refraction, right, to max, which will then allow you to see any object regardless of the. So regardless of the, he has a setup. So regardless of the distance, it will allow you to when you bring the what he's calling a refracted gradient slider. I can't get the words out. Up to max, it'll allow you to see the object, right? Because But what I would point out is they need to have that, right? Obviously, right? But what Walter Bislin is doing there is what I showed to what the videos you watched, Tinfoil, of what over 6R actually is, which is the unbending of their globe. That's what it actually is. What Walter Bislin has is not the unbending of their globe, even though that's what he's trying to portray. What he has is a load of nonsense to do with temperature and air pressure, which has nothing to do with what over 6R actually is. So when people are looking at his calculator for something, for an observation that you've shown, and they bring the thing up to max, and it makes it possible mathematically for that person to be able to see what you show, what they don't realize is that he's messing around with numbers to do with temperature and air pressure when what over 6R actually is purely mathematical and has nothing to do with any of that.
Absolutely, Brian. Should I just very briefly just finish this presentation off, because I'm literally probably a couple.
I didn't know you weren't finished. I thought you were finished. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's absolutely fine, Brian. I'll just if I just finish off what I've got to say, literally another couple of minutes or so, 5 minutes, whatever, and then it's done. Can I do that? Shall I just carry on?
Free.
Okay, so I can't even remember where we got to. So we were looking at the outlet channels, weren't we? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the last outlet channel.
Okay, so if Nathan, can you go to after the water outlet channel pictures in Master B? There's pic 32 is the fraudulent omni calculator. It's showing that the obscured object part from that distance and observer height elevation level should be nearly 9 meters, according to the heliocentric model. Do you see this? Pic 32?
Yeah, it's been on. It's been on.
Sorry, could you just repeat that?
It's been on while you've been talking about it.
Right, okay, no problem. So next picture is back to the fraudulent Walter Bislin calculator. So that's showing the same, okay, again, but without this mathematical only refraction applied, right? So nearly 9 meters. The next picture is that fraudulent mathematical refraction applied ridiculously. It's still showing that nearly 7 meters of obscured object part should be hidden from view, even when you stick the standard refraction in this stupid thing, right? The next picture, like Brian was just describing, pic 35, you've got to go extreme mathematical only non-existent refraction being applied, yeah? And then that will bring that outlet channel nicely and conveniently back into view. So as far as I'm concerned, that is out and out direct fraud on us all. It's an absolutely pathetic attempt to bring what is mathematical in concept and then apply it somehow to reality. But as we've just seen, it's completely stupid, and you're hijacking our own eyeballs here. And it provides yet another example of how this parlor trick is now exposed. It's exposed. So if I may, I'd strongly urge any interested parties watching to view 2 absolutely tremendous videos from Brian's Logic detailing how in the mathematics this fraud has taken place. Not only that, as well, Quantum Eraser's superb video regarding, wait for it, terrestrial refraction. So hopefully maybe one of the moderators on Discord can provide those links for the audience members. All I'd say is that I am going to provide this this video recording to anybody who wants it. I need to get round to actually putting stuff on YouTube and on Odyssey. But if you've taken screenshot recording of that, Nathan, please feel free to share that. All of these pics, all of this videos, all of this information, please, far and wide. Everyone needs to be made aware of what the reality actually is on the ground, so to speak. So that's it, Nathan. I'm done for now.
Okay. I'm glad you brought up the Earth curve calculator again. In those calculations, whether you're using the advanced Earth curve calculator that applies the mathematical inflation of an R value, or the regular curve calculator, they have two parallel lines in it. One of them is eye level, which is a horizontal plane, and they have surface level, which runs parallel to it. Have you ever seen that before?
They both use level planes of reference. Is it yes?
Yeah, the surface level is what I want to get to. That eye level is running parallel to that surface level.
Yeah.
When they talk about the horizon physically obscuring something, what is the horizon?
Not Earth curve.
Well, I mean, how would you define it if you were going to just like if you wanted to tell somebody where the horizon is in your eyesight? What would you say?
A level plane.
Would you say it's where the surface level appears to meet the sky?
That's clearly what happens, John, when we look out and see it's perspective where the perspective it meets, and then it creates a level plane. That's how I would see it and describe it.
Right. So to do any Earth curve calculations, first you have to accept that the surface level is a flat horizontal plane.
Agreed.
Perfect. I am going to do a few announcements. So the two are kind of intertwined. The first is going to be in regards to Russian vids. So in one of the campaign videos I did, that did get released to the public, I specifically noted that Russian vids have been critical of me doing a campaign to replace a piece of broken electronics in this PC. It wasn't actually him. Now, shout out to Chronicles of the Cats, who got in touch with RV to clarify whether or not it was him, and it wasn't. And then big shout out to you, RV, as well, for getting in touch with me personally and having a nice little chit chat. It was lovely. In regards to it not being you. So just so you know, there are several Russian vids sock accounts that aren't him, that are fake accounts pretending to be him. And as it happens, one of his largest channels got wiped out, and then he's now in a position where some of the fake accounts that were taking up some of the popularity off his back are equal size to his actual channel, which is called, correct me if I'm wrong, They Live Truth, correct? I hope I've got his actual channel name right. If I've sent a load of people to a bloody troll account now, I'm going to kick myself so badly. I'm pretty sure his actual channel is called They Live Truth. You'll know straight away because it's got a whole ton of Russian vids videos on it, and he uploads regularly. So there we go. So that's my first correction to that. Go ahead, whoever wanted to add something to that.
I just posted it in chat, so you were correct. It's They Live Truth. Yes.
Yes. Now, my bad, because I, at a cursory glance, didn't really pay attention to the channel name that had Russian vids in the name, and I know that's not his current name, and I just looked at the number of subscribers and went, yeah, that looks about right, so it must be him. So it's mine not doing my due diligence in that regard. So it is completely my bad that I was critical of Russian vids being critical of me e-begging, and he wasn't. Now, I didn't specifically ask if he endorsed or denied or was critical of me begging, because I'm sure he doesn't give a toss either way. So it wasn't really relevant to our discussion, which was more about Pallywood and various other things. Anyway, with that being said, I have just done, and hopefully, although my memory temperature on this GPU is a little bit high, the campaign is a complete success. I have now, I think someone else gave me a few quid as well, but I'm going to shout those people out. So massive shout out to all of the people who supported me via PayPal as well. I hope I have, at least by first name, so I'm not doxing you, shouted you out on some of the live shows that have preceded this, but I don't have that list in front of me right now. But there were several people. If you have contributed via PayPal, I do, if I haven't already, write you a personal email, and that is to say I send you a thank you and say how much I appreciate the fact that you've contributed via PayPal. So you should have, if you have contributed via PayPal, have received a message from me directly via email or via the PayPal system itself. But shout out to Anonymous Donor, thank you very much indeed, and another Anonymous Donor. It does actually give some names, Mobile Max 777, who we are familiar with. So Fixing Phoebe PC, is the name that this person's given, and they just bunged me £100. I really appreciate it. It was very much a stress reliever. Peter, thank you very much indeed for the $100 donation. Same for Jardo. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will not get the jab. Thank you very much for supporting the campaign along with Rhett. Really appreciate it. OBE Lines is the guy that got in touch with Russian Vids. So thank you very much for contributing. Really appreciate it. Jenny Marcial, really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed. Michael Jones, same goes for you. American ERC, thank you very much. Really appreciate the support. Some of these that are a little bit older are because this campaign has merged into the one that paid for my failed hard drive. So I actually put a second 4 terabyte hard drive in along with replacing a hard drive that had actually failed, that had the main operating system on. And it was like 10 days between the two failing. The graphics card being faulty, giving me black screens, and the hard drive failing and not letting me boot from it at all. Anyway, so might as well shout out those people as well. So shout out to Anonymous Donor again. Daniel Samanego. Hopefully I've said your name right. Sheila, really appreciate the support. Thank you very much indeed. Original D Rose and another anonymous donor, along with Michael Kahn, thank you very much, and the Adam Meakin. Really appreciate all of your support, and obviously everybody who did share the campaign. As I always encourage people to do so, I may as well thank you, as there were several people who shared the campaign, and lots of people left prayers, which are like nice words that you can say about the campaign, about me, and I get to read all those messages. Thank you, all of you as well. I really, really appreciate that. Maybe other people don't thank their people who leave their prayers on Give Send Go, but it's essentially people assuring me that, you know, that you'll always have support, which almost brings a tear to the eye. I know I say it a lot, that I appreciate the amount of support I do get, which is ongoing, but I do, you know, and I said in one of the other campaign videos when I was pointing out that I no longer have an overdraft after a letter from the bank, I couldn't have done this, literally could not have done this without the support of the people that gave me the money to do it. Yesterday I handed over 580 quid, and that resolved the problem. Now the computer hasn't crashed. We're an hour and whatever we're in, 16 minutes into this, or maybe a bit less because I started a minute or two early. But yeah, you know, an hour and 10 or so into a live stream, absolutely no hiccups whatsoever. I may stay live so I can stress the computer with a game or something, just to make absolutely certain that it's never going to collapse or fall over under any circumstances. But that is down to the people who watch the show regularly. And if you're in the live stream chat, you'll probably see them all going by right now. Those are all the people. Thank you, all of you chatters. You know exactly who you are, who support me. It means an awful lot. So yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart, with all the sincerity I can muster. Anyway, that was it. Hopefully I shouted out everybody I need to shout out in that regard. I will keep you updated if there's any further issues. You'll hear me crying on camera if it does happen. But so far, so good. This seems good. Like I say, aside from slightly high memory temperatures, which are within tolerance, so I may not even do anything about them. Anyway, that's it.
Great. I really hope that all this calamity is finally behind you now then. And that you learned your lesson.
What lesson?
Of course you did.
How dare I accept the kindness of a subscriber who gave me a free PC? How dare it have a poor builder?
It's not saying that the whole thing was a mistake, but I'm just saying that you learned a lot about just like how assembling computers actually work. Things that you kind of probably overlooked at first, right? So
okay,
you learned a lot about it.
I'll give you an example to qualify what you're saying, and it's true. Which is to say that this graphics card is not the same as the old graphics card. It is the same because it's a 4070. It's the same model, but from a completely different manufacturer, running different voltages and different clocks, with different VRM and different power delivery. It is a different product. But within an hour, I got my head around it, figured out where the clocks need to be and where the voltages need to be for it to run at 150 watts without crashing. And that was it. It took a couple of hours. Well, why did it take a couple of hours? Because I've spent 14 months learning how to do it. Failing. But now that I've got a card that's not actually faulty in the case, it took me literally a couple of hours. That's including testing last night. And at the end, I was like, it hasn't crashed once. It's not like, oh, I've got to rearrange it. Every time I did it with the old one, it would be like, you test it, it seems to work for 2 straight hours, then it black screens, and you're like, well, now I've got to go back to the drawing board. Well, if something's faulty, you will inevitably do it forever. You'll never find the point of stability. It's faulty. Well, that was the case I was in with the most recent addition to the computer. Prior to that, the cooler wasn't attached to the case. Then the memory, because there was too much in the machine, and it was in a passive machine, it just cooked itself. Same with the PCIe cable, which gets very hot in a passive case. It burnt out. Believe it or not, a PCIe case, PCIe lead, whatever you call it, riser cable, does carry power and gets very hot. All problems that had to be resolved and should have been resolved by the person that the very generous subscriber who bought the PC should have done when they built it. The builder who he paid to build it should have resolved every single one of those problems. And if they weren't resolvable, they should have spec'd different components. Well, they didn't. I've had to learn how to do it, and I'm not a PC builder. But it is a journey of discovery that has led me to the point where I'm reasonably confident I can stick a new product inside it, even like I just have today and yesterday, and have it work within a couple of hours, because I know what I'm doing. But I shouldn't. I'm not a computer guy. I shouldn't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't know how to tune the voltage of a graphics card. But I do. But there we go. Very useful, Arwin. I'll forget about it immediately. Once this computer succeeds to not fall over for an entire week, I will disregard every bit of that from memory until the next time, and then I'll learn it all again if I ever have to.
Right, and if you do this frequently enough, then eventually you'll be able to like get a computer repair shop on the side.
No, I'm good. Shout out to Craig who helped me. Really appreciate it. Yeah, he's been a great guy. And I said to him at one point when he had the computer open yesterday, I could not do this. Now he obviously went, oh well, I'm just going through the motions. I've done it for so like me with a debate. Once you've got a skill set and you go through the motions, you can just do it. It's second nature. Well, that's him with computers. I am not that guy, and I don't want to be that guy. No disrespect to Craig, I couldn't do it. It's too stressful.
Fingers crossed.
It's always too stressful when you're not in that position.
Just to get back to that debate you had, the guy wanted to go to the binocular view of Saturn, kind of as a red herring away from the plane he was using to get his mathematics. I'm not sure what you were meaning about it being two-dimensional. Can you go into that more? Because I didn't understand that point.
We don't know whether it's three-dimensional or not because our view of it is two-dimensional through a telescope.
Right. Okay. But the way he rephrased it, or the way that I caught it, and then was you were claiming it was two-dimensional. You were saying that the image you see is two-dimensional.
On the contrary.
Because it's from a telescope.
When he paraphrased back to me, are you saying it is two-dimensional? I repeat, you do not have binocular vision to it. And he's saying, so you're saying it is two-dimensional? Oh, not three-dimensional. I'm like, well, have I confirmed that with my binocular vision? In other words, I intentionally repackaged his question each time he put it to me so that I'm not in a position to make the positive claim of what it is at all. I don't know was my initial answer. I stick by that. I don't. But in terms of what I do know about it, it does not confirm three-dimensionality beyond what they assert with orbital mechanics taken from a flat plane. Beyond that assertion, which requires a flat plane and proves that Earth is flat, to assert that you're on a globe. Check out the videos. Orbits prove a flat Earth. But beyond that claim, well, what do I care? Well, it's three-dimensional. Says you. Prove it. Well, you're saying it isn't, and I'm not saying anything.
Right. Well, he kept on trying to take the way that orbital mechanics is calculated from the ground, and then move that ground to Saturn and put it in, make Saturn the plane of reference, and have the rings orbit around. So he's trying to move you to space, to explain Saturn's rings, which I thought was kind of funny,
Well, it's cute, isn't it? Well, I know I've used a plane. I know it's what we're referencing. But that we are referencing, I can justify as being imaginary. Now that we've used the imaginary flat plane, I imagine, to reference, to imagine on a globe, I then detach myself from said flat reference plane, that's imaginary, that I derive a globe from, and then put myself in space on a flat reference plane at Saturn to describe the orbital motion that isn't observed or detailed from this position anymore. But now I'm nowhere near the flat plane that I had to imagine to get here.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. You know, like it was a nice red herring away from the plane of reference to go right back into it.
Okay, I've got one more disclaimer to make, right? As we're still live. So up until now, 14 months, this would be the point that I would stress the computer by basically just playing a game. And that is, to all intents and purposes, a very graphically intense thing for a computer to do. Hence, it's a good stress test. Now, the disclaimer is that because the computer has never been stable in 14 months, I've been playing the game I used to stress test for 14 months. Now, I'm not suggesting that I'm suddenly a really good Fortnite player. That is not the case. But anybody who happened to see me playing Fortnite and go, oh, I actually quite enjoyed that, there is a good chance that that won't happen from today forward. Because I'm hoping that I will get to the end of a game of Fortnite, still live, still recording, still being able to see what's on my screens. And then if I can do that 2 or 3 more times, I can confidently then mirror my operating system and have a backup, because the computer is then, quote, stable. Now, that's never happened. So this is quite tense moments for me. But in the next, I don't know, let's call it quarter of an hour, please chat amongst yourselves. And if you hear me screaming, cursing and swearing, and from the audience's perspective, the stream ends, you'll know that I'm going to probably go and do something I shouldn't to myself or the computer. But anyway, I just wanted to make that little disclaimer. On the other hand, this might be the last time you see game footage, unless I want to put something pretty on screen by committing suicide and just letting the spectator part of the game play out. Anyway, that's that disclaimer out of the way. Hopefully, this is, like I say, the last time people will be seeing Fortnite footage on a Flat Earth live stream. But that's why, and that's now been explained to anybody who never really understood why there's been game footage for the last year and a bit.
On what you were talking about a few minutes ago, to do with the conversation the other day, Bacon, I think it was, said, and he said, XYZ doesn't work on the plane, right? And you agreed with him because you weren't listening to what he's saying. And the same with the next guy. He said some things. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I remember picking up on it immediately when I heard it. And they were getting little agreements because that's what they do. They say things in a kind of an off-center manner, and people just kind of agree with them when they're not listening, when they're not hearing the little thing they're saying. Just agree with them, and that little agreement to them is a little win. They have to listen to what they're saying, because they got you to, both you and John, to agree with them.
I got you.
I think 2 or 3
twice. The one time I did.
It was them actually trying to hijack reality.
No, I got it. He
themselves.
did it once, and I did catch it, and then on the replay, I listened back and like, bastard, because they get you. Once you've heard the bit that I want to agree with, obviously I've kind of switched off or started talking like people do. But the one time he did it, he was like talking about the XYZ, basically the horizontal reference plane he's going to need to describe orbits. And then he says tangent just as I start talking. And I caught it and went, oh. But there was another time that I didn't, and you're right, Brian. And it wasn't that I'm not listening, although it was, because I was very distracted with the computer potentially failing at that particular moment. Like I say, that's why this is kind of hopefully going to be a turning point day, because my focus isn't 100% on the show. It's always thinking about what's over my right shoulder in regards to whether the computer's going to succeed for the whole show or not. You know what I mean? So I've been distracted for 14 months, and I need to get back onto being 100% focused on what we do on the show.
But that's why I addressed tangent specifically, because he invoked the tangent, which means surface level would have to be a horizontal plane of reference.
Well, what they do? What?
Yeah, but hold on. No, the moment they invoke tangent, you just have to point out that the only way you can invoke a tangent is if surface level is a horizontal plane of reference. That's how the mathematics work. So yeah, he didn't get by with nothing. He fell into a trap as far as I could see. Because to assert a tangent, you need surface level, the ground you're standing on, to be a horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah, but what they did, both of them did, is Bacon did it first with the XYZ. He said, but XYZ doesn't work on a plane, on a flat plane, right? Completely
No, that's not what he
hijacking.
said at first. At first he said...
If you listen back, John, that's what he says. But he says it in such a way where he kind of says it in a very matter-of-fact kind of way. And because you and Nathan were focused on getting them to a different position, you just agreed with it. But that's what they do.
No.
These little offhand comments, and that gets people to agree with them. And then in their own head, they've hijacked for an audience XYZ for a sphere when it has nothing to do with a sphere.
No, he agreed that he was getting it from a plane of reference.
That's not what he said about XYZ. He tried to hijack it, and he got you and Nathan to agree.
So
yes.
So when Nathan said from a horizontal plane, and they said yes, that was them disagreeing that they were getting it from a horizontal plane.
It's what they added on after. Within the next breath, he's adding on the tangent like it's assumed to be there. Well, it is assumed to be there. That's the point. He's begging the question of it, but then later denying the existence of the flat plane by saying, well, that bit's imaginary.
Right, but the tangent itself requires surface level to be a horizontal plane for them to assert it. So it's just another trap for them to fall off of. There's no getting out of this. John,
I was literally listening to it yesterday, and I had to turn it off yesterday evening because I started getting angry. Because I was hearing these little things they were saying, and they knew that they were getting them past the radar.
What's this? This isn't my trimmed out video, is it?
It was the 30-minute video that you
the unedited one
yesterday.
You mean the one that was just the two guys, one after the other, without any edits?
Bacon and the next guy, yeah.
Okay, the one, especially the second guy, is intentionally trying to get stuff past us, isn't he?
Well, they were both doing it. When the way they were speaking with kind of low tones and just kind of gradual, matter-of-fact kind of statements, but in a low tones, so it gets past you. You don't pay attention to it. It's like a little. It's like a spell. It's like a little word game.
Just take this on the chin, John. Let's just hear him out.
Yeah, it's what they do. It's what they're at, the position they're at now, and have been at for quite some time, where they like to throw in something that seems nonchalant and get an agreement on it, and they have a little smirk on their face then when they get that agreement. No matter what point you're making after that, they've gotten you to agree to something that you wouldn't, if you'd listened to it, you wouldn't agree to.
That's the bit that's going to get John and my backup, that we're not listening. Me, you can criticise of that because, like I say, I've got a second eye on my computer at the time. It even crashed. During it, the end of that was marked because of a crash of the computer. So yes, you can criticise me of that, but John's going to keep piping up because he's not going to tolerate you going, you weren't listening to them, because he was.
Well, I know I got angry. I had to turn it off. Actually, it was just at the end when I turned it off. I didn't realize it was just at the end, but I had to turn it off because I was like, no, I was angry because what's happening is you were focusing so much on wanting to make the one argument. You were missing these little things they were throwing in. Both of them were throwing in.
We weren't making an argument. That's what you're missing. There was no argument being made.
No, you were focusing on the argument you were trying to make. That's the point.
No, we weren't making an argument. There was no argument being made. They were wanting to argue, but there was no argument being made.
Well, not an argument then. You were trying to get your point out. That's what you were trying to do. And that's what you were focused on. And when you're focused on that, that's when they throw in these little things. That's their little wins. Those little
their
things.
Points. Like when they say, they said tangent several times. I addressed that.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that.
Then what did they say? Then what did they say that I didn't address or cited?
Well, I can't remember what the second guy, I think he did two things, but the first guy, Bacon, he said, XYZ doesn't work on a plane. And you and Nathan went, yes. and carried on with the thing. You didn't hear him say it because he said it in such a way.
I'll take.
He
No,
said it
fair
in
enough.
such
I'll take that on the chin.
Forget it.
No, I agree, Brian. I'll take that on the chin. It's John that's being critical of you in that regard. I've already said, yeah, fair enough. I agree. I wasn't really paying 100% attention. I'll agree with you, and you can hear it.
But well, hold on. But Bacon specifically said he was using a horizontal plane of reference to get his XYZ coordinates in that same conversation.
Right.
So, which was it? Was it him backsliding on what he stated to begin with, or what he confirmed to us? Well, I don't get what you're saying. He's explicitly said he's using a horizontal plane of reference to get his XYZ coordinates in a Cartesian system.
He has no choice. He's using XY. He has no choice. He threw in XYZ doesn't work on a flat plane. That's what he said. And he said it in such a way, it was such kind of matter of fact, just a little kind of a matter of fact comment that he hoped you would agree with, and he did.
You
When it
think
was a
I
total lie.
agreed with that statement?
Listen
Yeah,
back.
you're going to have to cite that because I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah,
Maybe
I've got to be honest. I wasn't paying 100%
I
attention, but I don't remember agreeing with him saying XYZ doesn't work on a flat. It's like, that is a flat plane. What are you babbling about? If that's what he said and I didn't catch it, again, I'll take it on the chin, but I don't remember that. But I'm obviously not going to if I wasn't paying 100% attention.
You see, it's their game these days is not the big wins. It's these little wins when they're trying to hijack things. See, it's all about hijacking of reality. And that little comment of XYZ doesn't work on a flat plane, that's a little hijack. That's what that is.
But
And
see, the thing
they
is,
do it outside of the main point.
Hold on. Go ahead, Brian.
They're doing it outside of the main points to get little wins. And they are those little comments that you will miss when you're focused on a point that you're trying to get to happen or get to speak about. And they'll throw them in there. And if you don't catch them, then they'll have a little smirk on their face. And that's how they work. That's where they're at.
I think I know what you're talking about. You're talking about right before he left, then the other guy took up the mantle and he ran away. He yelled it out as he left, and then he ran away. That's what you're talking about. Because in the beginning, and for several
this is not
times,
at the very end. This is in the middle of a conversation with you and Nathan.
In the beginning, several times, he detailed how he would be using a plane of reference, and he confirmed it several times.
Yeah, but he's not denying he's using a plane of reference, but then he's denying the XY is the XYZ that will be part of that is the coordinate system. He's going to be. He said XYZ doesn't work on a flat plane, and he just threw that in there. And for anyone who doesn't know any better, and you agreed, will then think, oh, XYZ doesn't work on a flat plane.
I didn't even hear that. I edited the video, Brian. I edited the video and I didn't even hear him say that. So if you're saying some audience member's going to hear that and react badly, I edited it and I can't even remember hearing him saying that.
I heard it.
Just give us a timestamp and we'll go back and have a listen.
Exactly, that's what I want to hear. Because that doesn't sound like that happened.
You're saying he subtly dropped it in there, mate?
Yeah, he subtly dropped it in. So he's agreeing to a flat plane, use of a flat plane, but then he's saying the coordinate system, he's trying to, it's an angle that to try and push that the coordinate system that he's using that has a flat plane doesn't work on a flat plane. That's what he was trying to do. It was really, really underhanded. You know, this kind of matter of fact, oh, well, XYZ doesn't work on a flat plane. This kind of thing. And he said it in such a kind of he said it kind of low tones. And it was like, that's their little wins. Those little things. It's like, sorry, what did you say there? You know, those little things. They are the things. And that's what he did. And the next fella did the same. I can't remember what points he made, but he did the same similar thing. I think 2 times. If not, at least 1, if not 2. Where he said stuff and he wasn't pulled on it because it wasn't directly the focus. But he's thrown in these little things that are little wins, let's say. And that gives them a little smirk. because they're hijacking reality and you're agreeing to it. It's like they're getting you to sign a contract.
Quit saying it and cite it. Like he keeps saying it, like it's going to be true. Cite it now.
Oh, we're all friends
Back in the
here.
way.
He's got time. He can dig it out. Not now, but whenever. I'm happy to look at it. If I've missed it and he's dropped it in that subtly that I've missed it whilst editing it, then I'll be like, fine. But Brian's point isn't to say that we haven't, maybe he's hinting at our lack of vigilance, but a little bit. But by the same token, if they have to drop these subtle things in to get a perceived bit of pain relief, perceived win, aka pain relief, then so be it. If you've got to do it that subtly that it's not going to be a debated point, it's just in there in the midst of the recording. All right, I'll let him have it. All right, okay. You say XYZ doesn't work on a plane. XYZ is a plane. But if we missed it, we missed it.
Right. Yeah, I want to hear it because I've also listened back to it and I didn't hear that. So now I heard them make little comments as they ran away. But what's the point in talking to somebody that ran away?
In any event, please check out those videos. So they're called, in all different lengths, Orbits Prove a Flat Earth. There's a shorts, there's a 10-minute version, which is a reasonably heavily edited down, so it's concise enough to have the entirety of the argument, but with fairly big chunks cut out. Maybe including him saying XYZ doesn't work on a flat Earth, or something like that. But nevertheless, there's also the 30-minute version, which is basically unedited. It is, because it's got to be kept tidy. But to all intents and purposes, it's unedited. Okay. We all good? No response. We all good? Brian disappeared. My computer crashed. What's going on?
No,
Something's going on with
I think I'm a little bit irritated. Is why I'm staying quiet.
Tiny little sign of instability going on one of my tabs. Maybe need to make a minor little fine adjustment, but for the most part, I would say that this computer's worked perfectly.
Nathan,
Could that be a software issue?
Again? One more time, John.
I said that might be a software issue, though, right?
It's just one of the Google Chrome tabs. Just is slightly flickering at the top edge of it. Could be a software issue. Just to be on the safe side, I'll lower the frequency by 1 notch. But it tells me all I need to know. I've done an hour and a half-ish live. Some of it under great stress, and the computer seems absolutely happy as Larry, I would say. Doesn't seem to be doing anything weird.
You can hear me, Nathan?
Yes, did you want to make some summary? Because I'm about to round out the live show and ask people to stay tuned if they're watching on an after show.
I just wondered if you wanted to do next Wednesday again. I could come back and we could try and just iron out a few technical things and then just come back next Wednesday.
As I say, there's with anybody who joins, there is absolutely no obligation, and also it's an open door. Now you're slightly different because you're in the G Plus panel, but by the same token, yeah, it's always going to be a yes. If you turn up and you've got something to show, we'll be looking at it. Let's put it that way.
Okay, no problem. It's just that Wednesdays typically work for me, so that's
That's
great.
good.
No
If
problem.
it ends up being a Wednesday, that sounds good to me.
Cool.
When just play it.
Just play it at the timestamp. 8 minutes and 15 for 15 seconds, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, I just skipped past this ad. Okay, it's not time stamped. 8:15, you say? $8:07, that'll do.
Respect to a flat plane, because that is your plane of reference. Those in space, as you say.
How is it relative to a plane if those are 3 coordinates, like X, Y, and Z? That doesn't fit a plane.
There you go. Now you.
It doesn't fit a plane. Yeah, one more time.
How is it relative to a plane if those are 3 coordinates, like X, Y, and Z? That doesn't fit a plane.
Yeah, we missed that, Brian.
No, the thing is, he's saying that the point position in space is not on the plane itself.
Yeah, he's saying there's three coordinates. Was he focusing? He's using the focus you have on the horizontal plane, and he's denying the horizontal plane.
That's not what
process.
he's saying. He's saying the point above.
Yeah,
is
he's in the
not
third dimension.
in reference to. Right. There's a point in space that's not the plane, is what he's stating.
Yeah, I know what he's doing, and what he's doing is trying to make it seem like XYZ won't work with a plane. For anyone who doesn't know better, that's what he's at. When the truth is that he made a factual statement, but he didn't qualify what he meant by that.
So you're qualifying what he meant by that.
Yeah, and then taking umbrage with us.
He wanted. Sorry, Nathan.
Well, you're requalifying what he's saying, and then taking umbrage with us for not catching it. But we're not catching your interpretation of what he's saying.
No, he's trying to remove the actual plane, an actual plane of reference, which is what he just said. He's trying to remove and make it purely something that is like basic. Him saying what he just said, although it's a factual statement saying there's 3 dimensions, that doesn't fit a flat plane. Right? 2 of those dimensions are on a flat plane. Right? So he said something that's factual, but also getting John to agree with him about something that's factual, but while also slipping a little smirky win under the radar.
It's not a win. You're interpreting it.
Educated, they might think, well, those coordinates don't work with a flat Earth. Not knowing any better.
No, you're interpreting it that way because the point is not on the surface the minute you add the 3rd dimension into it, because then you got elevation. But before that, we were talking about how these are all with respect to a plane of reference. So, like, if you completely ignore the context of everything that happened before that, I guess you could interpret it that way if you really were trying to give him a win.
Maybe I'm hyper-focused on every little thing they say because they try and throw in so many little things that are little wins. They try to get underneath the radar.
Right. If you're talking about something above your head, you're not talking about something you're standing on. You're talking about something above your head. It may be in relation to what you're standing on, but you're not talking about what you're standing on.
Yes, I know.
Then how is it a win?
Because he got you to agree to something. He said, X, Y, or Z doesn't work with a flat plane. It's like the flat plane is 2 of the 3 coordinates. Yeah, there is a 3rd coordinate with X, Y, Z, but X and Y is on a flat plane. So he's after denying the flat plane that's going to be part of his X, Y, Z.
But he's only mistakenly right until we correct him, right? And then it's over. So he's not right forever. Or mistakenly correct forever.
Not good enough according to Brian.
Maybe I'm hyper-focused on these small things. But these little things is what I see them do, and I hear them do. They try it in comments, I hear them trying it in audio, where they make these little statements that go underneath the radar. And these little statements are, to me, all I see is them smirking.
Yeah, like the point where they concede, that Earth's flat. Let's ignore that.
Alrighty then. Nothing better than dead air. Gives the audience time to relax and stuff, Great. Hey, Eli.
Well, what are we talking?
We're talking about the fact we missed something subtle from a baller, and it annoys John greatly, or it has annoyed John, refractive curvature greatly. Because it's
I know, I heard him talking about that. It's very interesting. It just seems like the guy was just temporarily insane, and we fixed it, right? But he is right, though. I think his point is that, you just really need to watch for that. Because, maybe that's why we have John.
Yeah, you just really need to watch for that, John.
That's your job.
It's an affront to John and I in respect to our ability to catch these things in the moment. However, criticism is accepted from me.
Nothing changes the nature of reality, does it?
No.
We're all flawed. We all make, I don't know what's going on. Absolutely no idea. But I just, we all misspeak. I don't know if that's happened. What I'm just saying is the ultimate big picture, the big thing is, I don't know, does nature care? None of this cares. No. For me, from my perspective, nature has spoken. God, designer, creator, all that is spoken. That's it. But these people infuriate me. You have to. I'm new to this, but I don't want to get involved and talk about things that I don't know. Well, what do I know? I don't know much. The older I get, all I know is that the less I know, that classic statement, it's like the juxtaposition, isn't it? You get older and then you realize the more knowledgeable I am, the more knowledgeable I come, the less I know. I mean, how does this work? But it's true, isn't it? The way I see things,
It's weird how people can deny reality, even if it's in front of their face.
I just go and point a telescope at things, and like, there's some more awesome things happen. The revelation that I had, is more important to me than anything that anybody ever says to me. Anybody catches me out on anything that I get wrong, anything that I do. It's just like, it's awe-inspiring. It's just, I was awestruck. My wife and I were I was delirious when I came back, having captured that first observation footage. My head was all over the shop. I would just like, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know what the words are to describe it, but it was just suddenly some sort of connection occurred that was just mind blowing for me. That overrides everything else. That's all I'm saying.
That can't be a moment, is what you're describing, Tinfoil, yeah?
Oh, what? Sorry, Brian, I didn't catch that.
From your perspective at that time, it would be that can't be moment. In other words,
Yeah, I mean, I was,
To go along with what you thought was the truth. This is completely in contradiction to it.
Yeah, because obviously, being taught growing up, you know, you just accept that situation, that it's a ball. And the beauty of the revelation that it's within each of us to go and check and verify and establish for ourselves, not what anybody says to us, not what anybody tells us, not what, I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, it's some guy, some woman, whatever, just telling you what's what. I mean, really?
Yeah,
I'll go.
Back, hold on a sec. If you go back and listen to that video for the next minute, we address how he said it doesn't work on a flat plane, and Nathan gets him to accept that there is a horizontal plane in his
I have
three-dimensional
no issue with any of that. I never argued
hold on. Okay. So your problem with it is we didn't address it. Nathan specifically addressed it.
The XYZ point wasn't addressed. He's hijacking a coordinate system. That's what it was. All right, forget it.
The next minute of that video was Nathan explaining it.
Yeah, but Nathan didn't bring up. He had already hijacked it. That's the point. Nathan didn't bring up the XYZ after that. He hijacked the XYZ.
No, Nathan explained to him why it was on a horizontal and vertical XYZ.
He's not denying. What he did was very subtle. He's not denying XYZ. He's not denying the use of a plane, but he's trying to make the plane, the XY plane, only be possible to the center of his sphere. He's subtly trying to do that. That's what he's subtly trying to do. That is what his
But you're saying we didn't address it. You're saying we didn't address it when Nathan specifically, because I went back and listened past the point that you wanted the video stopped, and that was specifically addressed for the next
I'll go into the call and I'll go and listen to it. Exactly what you said, and we'd see if Nathan went back in over the XYZ point.
He did. He said XYZ is in relation to a vertical and a horizontal plane.
Yeah, but that didn't stop what the guy had said. The guy had already pre-hijacked.
There was no
That's
plane.
the point.
The guy said there was no plane, and then he said there was a plane.
The guy had pre-hijacked XYZ, and he was able to agree then when he said XYZ doesn't work with a plane. It's three-dimensional, doesn't work with a plane. And you went, exactly, or yeah, right. And then he could put that plane at the center of his globe. That's what he's at, getting a little smirk. That's what they do.
No, I was talking about a point out off the plane in space, right? That's not the plane. And he said, that's not, I may have misheard him. And he said, but that's not the plane. It has nothing to do with the plane. That was wrong, and I agreed. But it was immediately addressed by Nathan. So I may have accidentally said yes, but I did realize my mistake. I don't see why that infuriated you so much, though, that you had to turn it off and stop watching it. I don't get that.
I didn't turn it off at that stage. I turned it off later. But it was at the I didn't realize it was at the very end of the video anyway. Because I was in the car getting angry.
So you heard Nathan address that point specifically.
I heard Nathan, I heard Nathan speak after that, but the guy had already pre-hijacked a coordinate system. That was the point. He had a little hijack. That's what they do. They want to hijack everything. They keep on wanting to hijack absolutely everything. And that's what he was doing. It was a subtle hijack. And it's like he put out a contract and there was you didn't read the small print and you signed it. That's what it was. That's what they do, these little contracts with their little questions. Their little statements that they get people to agree with. They're always at it. That's their wins. That's the point. I don't want them to have even one win. I want them to have only losses.
But if they get one, what are you going to do?
Well, if they get one, you can't. It's done.
Well, no, I mean, it isn't done because whatever they're believing isn't real. So, I mean, why do we really fret over things that are not real? You know what I mean? Like, you're right. But in this sense, where we're having an AAR in here, right? An after action review. So what is your recommendation to fix this so that we can all live in peace?
Fix what? It's done. Just all you
It's
have to say for the
fixed?
future is pay attention to the small things they say, the subtle things they say.
Certainly. Squared away.
Changing the subject slightly, if I may. B sent me some information regarding some software about reducing video file size without compromising video quality. So what I'm thinking is, if I can chop up this 35-minute video into chunks, then I'll be able to, maybe I could get to the point where I could have 5-minute chunks of that video that I could then upload to Master B. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And then
publish it. Just
obviously
upload it
reviewing
to
On compression.
the easiest thing to do is just upload it at 4K to YouTube. Free. Zero hassle.
Yeah, I need to do this. I need to do YouTube and Odyssey. So obviously YouTube censored, and Odyssey is peer-to-peer, isn't it? So yeah, there's plenty moving forward to do, but yeah, I need to get my act together here, don't I?
And it's not that. Just stick it on YouTube. It's just
gonna
'cause it's
say.
easy.
Who's Mr.
Nathan.
AAR and squared away? That military puke. Is he a pogue?
Personnel other than Grunt.
AAR. I'm not I was in the Scouts. Far from being a pogue. Thank you very
Scouts,
much.
What MOS?
11 Bravo. And I was in a 11
Okay,
Bravo
he's
4
not a
slot.
pogue. Okay, all right. So, gotcha. 11B, all right. He's not a pogue, Nathan.
Okay, well, that's good.
No, hardly. It would be a bad day if
Not
you called me
hardly.
a pogue.
Not hardly, not at all. So, okay, you pass
Roger that.
muster. Carry on.
Okay, yeah, I do have a combat infantry badge. They shot at me, I shot back. We're good.
Yeah, that's not an expert infantryman's badge.
is
Anyone
great.
could get it as long as you were there with the CIB. EIB is a different story.
No, you actually have to live through all those firefights. On the EIB,
I
there's
understand
literally
that.
nobody
You don't
killing
have,
you on that
I
course.
understand that.
You weren't
but
there,
you don't
man.
have EIB. Oh, God.
Yeah.
You weren't there.
So which firefight did you want to hear about? No, I'm just kidding. I was going to tell you about the compression thing. So Facebook spent a whole bunch of money, like a couple $1 billion on these people who built this app out of their garage. And so it works on compression. And so I compress all my smaller videos and all my photos through that because it somehow maintains its quality through the compression, but it actually reduces the size so you can send it through. So using Messenger just to like compress your things really quick works really well because they spent a lot of money on that.
Not going to go through another ranty thing where he comes on and presents like photos and shit, and we spend all eternity looking at stupid photos. We ain't going to do that, are we?
Tinfoil Hatman is actually on the panel with you. You can ask him if that's what you're inferring.
Oi. What was it? What's the compression of that messenger? How much does it compress by? Do we know?
That was a beautiful segue. Beautiful.
Hey QE, I've enjoyed some of your stuff. That terrestrial refraction, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah, no one pays attention to it because the next day, flat earthers are giving baltards refraction. They don't even saying it, but flat earthers are bringing it up. It's almost like, well, didn't you forget refraction? Like, what the hell is going on out here?
Crazy times. I know for a fact I'm learning, so.
It ain't crazy times, it's stupid times.
Refraction, what is that?
Brian's videos.
That's the angle of light going through a water bubble, right? Like a water droplet.
Now, that's an
I believe
example
it's like
of refraction. That's not what refraction
Oh.
is. Is that
I guess
Pogue
I was
again? No,
going to
he's
the
not a
original
Pogue, sorry.
source.
But they switch them the term, don't they? They mean two different things. They double speak.
Yeah, what they're claiming is what they're trying to hijack. This is all about hijacking. It's Snell's law, actual refraction. But then what they give you is a mathematical unbending of their globe. That's what they give you.
That's going to confuse him, Brian.
Yeah, sorry, I had someone talking to me. My mother was called in there, and she's talking to me while on that. But
So what the Baltards call refraction is actually not refraction whatsoever. That 7/6 of the radius is Brian's telling you it has nothing to do with light or refraction. It's the unbending of their globetard. Even if it was, it wouldn't be. When they say terrestrial refraction or atmospheric refraction, that's not 7/6R, number one. When they do say atmospheric refraction, they're referring to atmospheric refraction, but there's no such animal. Paula?
It's the number one thing that I hear.
Yep.
It's really being pumped and pushed out there now, this simple response of refraction to explain away what you can just see with your own eyes. I mean, what a hijacking that is.
If that were the case, if atmospheric refraction, all their fairy tale phenomena was the case, it would render all the militaries on the plane impotent. You'd never be able to hit a target. It's just that simple. It's so stupid. It's stupid. So, yeah. It's just the last port in the storm for knuckle dragging window lickers. That's all it is. They just expose themselves every time. But refraction, you're exposed. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I think I put something in the chat for the compression thing.
Then we were waiting for that.
As soon as
thanks, I'll take a look.
The thing about it is, what people have to remember about over 6R, what they call standard refraction is standard over 6R, which would be 7/6 of a radius. That means their starting point isn't actually a sphere or a circle. Their starting point is an arc length. That's their starting point, because 7/6 has an effective radius of 4,618 miles, I think it is, whereas their globe radius is 3,959 miles. So the starting point is an arc length, not even a circle. If you think of it, just take the sphere out. Yeah, it's not. It's not. That's where I'm getting there.
What's the R stand for?
Yeah, I know. I'm getting there. That's the whole point of what I'm saying, right? That's what their starting point is. That so they always must start at 7/6. They can never have anything less than 7/6, and it goes up the scale from 7, and it's an unbending of an arc length. That's all it is, and it is not refraction. Refraction is detailed. It's Snell's law. It's very clearly detailed. What they're talking about and what the mathematics is trying to show you is not what they're actually claiming. Most of them don't even know what they're actually claiming.
Exactly.
That's why I showed their mathematics. It's just a pure mathematical unbending of an arc length to bring the horizon further away from the observer, because they need to explain how the horizon moves around, because they don't have a geometric. Go on.
Even the high priests don't know what it is. Get a high priest and ask them, what is 7/6R? I'll bet you they won't be able to tell. I'll guarantee it.
No, they won't. They won't know. And the minute they state 7/6 or greater than 7/6R, they're immediately relinquishing all globe geometry and the measurement of it. It means that they have to start at a point that is beyond a point which is 7/6, which is beyond their geometry. That means their geometry, and that's always the starting point. You can never go lower than that. It's because lower than that would mean we're living in a vacuum, right, within their paradigm. So consequently, this is what they must say, right? So consequently, their starting point is past where any geometry could be measured. So they don't have geometry, which is the whole point of the black swan. When they claim refraction for the black swan, it means that they're saying we don't have any geometry. You can't do geometry on refraction. You can't do geometry on a mirage, which is what they're actually claiming. Even though they don't understand their own claim, it's not a mirage. They're actually just claiming an unbending of an arc length. But they think that it's actual refraction, or they try to proclaim it as actual refraction. But it doesn't matter, because as soon as they claim it, it means they're relinquishing geometry. That means they don't have a measurement for their sphere. That's the end of that.
Well, thanks to you and QE, I have a far better understanding. But an example of this is like, I have like the kindest, nicest parents. They'll do anything for you type. Christians. But this whole process of my wife and I with this telescope, he was on board with it up until the point I came back from the first observation and played to him, and you could see in his the shock to the system. It was too much. He went away. He watched some Simon Dan, Professor Dave, what's the other, Keegan. He comes back and he's refraction. And it's got to the point where it's, you know, souring the relationship, which is sad and a shame. But he actually admitted and stated, you know, he's doubling down, it's refraction, but actually stated he doesn't know what it is. But I don't really know what it is. I've not really looked into it. This is what's happening with the whole refraction thing. It needs dealing with, and hopefully I can help with some of the, you know, from my angle, with some of these videos and stuff. So it's just so unbelievably stupid. Once the penny drops, it's unbelievable to realize what is being said and what's going on. But yeah, refraction is out there, and that's what people will automatically double down on and stick to. So they have to be explained what it is. But like I say, I'm learning all along as well. So.
Well, what the problem is that you end up fighting against a claim, like when the claim of refraction. What you're actually fighting against there is not anything to do with actual refraction. You're fighting against a claim made by, and I'm not meaning this to be your friend, but by other people like Dave McKeegan and other people who are kind of crazy people. You're dealing with claims from people who are kind of crazy. That's all you could call them. Was when someone, that's the only way you can go when you start denying reality, is going a bit crazy. And we've seen this in this arena over the years. They've become more and more crazy. Their claims have become more and more outlandish. They've contradicted themselves more and more and more as time has gone on. They've denied their own geometry. They've denied all kinds of parts of their own heliocentric paradigm and their own the mechanisms of that, mathematical mechanisms of that, to make claims. Basically, they're throwing maths on top of maths and expecting you to accept it as reality. When they say standard refraction, because you can see all the way to rocks that are on the seabed, 10 miles away. They need to say standard refraction. Do you know what I mean? When standard refraction, they need to claim more than standard refraction, but they don't even know that. They don't even know what they're supposed to claim. They don't even know what they're actually claiming. They're just claiming stuff. And it's a consensus-based thing. So you're fighting against a kind of potential craziness as opposed to logical anything. There's no logic involved. It's purely craziness. And the problem is people can get drawn into that. Like I was saying, this person has gotten drawn into this where they'll come back and say refraction without even knowing what it is. They don't even know what it is that they're actually claiming. They don't know what refraction is. It's just something you say to stop the pain. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a defensive reaction to the alternative. What that actually means. It's horrible to watch in real time. Like I say, particularly when it's people close to you as well. So it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. His appeal to expert authority, but yet these people are the exact opposite of what you would expect an expert authority to be. How does that work?
Well, they start deciding that they're the authority, because this is a problem. You see it a lot online, but it's very, 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 very prevalent in this arena, where our opposition will start talking about stuff as if they are an authority on it. And they'll deny people who are authorities on it as if they are an authority over them. They kind of put themselves in I am the self-authority. They'll start explaining stuff to you, and if you start asking them some questions about it, they won't be able to come back with anything solid. It will all be stuff they're making up. And if they do come back with anything, it's something that someone just like them, that they're friends with, made up. I've had stuff presented to me when I asked for references or citations. The stuff was come back to me, links that came from some other idiot connected to the idiot I'm arguing with. It has nothing to do with anyone official. Do you know what I mean? This is what they do. So you have people being like, people will take the words of I don't know, Professor Dave or somebody. Even he's not a good example because he has some education. But they'll take the words of somebody like Craig, Fight the Flat Earth, as if he is an authority on something. When all he's actually done is just made stuff up. That's all he's done. But he's made you, the person who doesn't know better, believe that he actually knows what he's talking about, when he's only just made stuff up. And he's willing to fight for the stuff he's made up, even though he has no evidence to back it. And he will fight, and he'll spend 2.5 hours wasting your time in a debate. And that's what he does, and that's how he does it. Just him as an example. Ruth is the same. They all basically do the same thing, most of them. You know, they're willing to just make something up on the spot and just argue for that thing as if it has some validity, when it has nothing. But somebody who doesn't realize this will start accepting what they're telling them and seeing them as an authority. But that's what pretenders do. They want people to see them as an authority. That's why they keep on wanting to tell everyone about their education or tell everyone about this, that, and the other thing. If you've got an education, if you know something, you have no need to go on about it. Do you know what I mean? You are the real deal. That's it. You don't need to talk about it. You don't need to throw it in people's faces. But that's what these people do. They keep on wanting to try and claim some authority in education and put themselves in a position where people listen to them when they don't have any of these things. The frauds. I mean, Ruhif, what does Ruhif have as far as real world credibility? Nothing. He just makes stuff up and gives people the impression he's an authority when he's not. He's just a chancer.
He did, after all, say the definition of words are meaningless.
Yeah, using words.
Exactly.
Which makes his statement meaningless. Do you know what I mean?
It makes him a hippy dippy guru pretender clown, pretty much. He's going to say something like that. Low grade.
Well, the thing is, it's about who actually listens to him, who actually hears him, and hears what he says, as opposed to people who just nod along. Because that's what you have. You have loads of people who just nod along with Ruhif. Just him as an example. It doesn't have to be him. There's a lot of them out there. They just nod along with each other. And they get people who don't know any better to nod along. They say, oh yeah, this must be the correct thing. These people must know what they're talking about. And it's just making stuff up. He'll make up something that contradicts. He'll make up something now that contradicts something he made up 10 minutes ago. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when you pull him on that or question him about it, he'll make up something else.
Yeah, that's just called being flexible, Brian.
yeah, he's intellectually flexible. You know, so then they wonder why people like us aren't interested in communication with them, or aren't interested in debates with them. What's the point in debating somebody who just makes stuff up at the drop of a hat and will never concede to being wrong, and just then make up something else in 10 minutes' time that contradicts that, and then make up something else when you point out the contradiction? What is the point? You're dealing with people who are crazy, basically, in our. Come on.
But you could get entertainment value out of it, but I mean, Rueff is not that interesting. If you're going to do that kind of nonsense, then do it with somebody like Rumpus, you know, because that at least is entertaining, to me at least. Maybe not Nathan.
Well, I see it in comments from people in comments all the time on my videos. Comments from these people where they are trying to use maths to promote themselves as some kind of an intellectual authority in some way. And most people who don't know any better would just go, oh, okay, and the maths seem to check out without looking in at what the maths actually are that were presented. You know what I mean? And when you look into what the maths actually are that was presented, you can see how they don't work in reality. They don't work mathematically. Do you know what I mean?
It just
Things
doesn't
like
add
that.
up.
It's like,
Hello?
I don't know. Someone was about to say something.
Somebody from Discord.
Sounded like someone.
Sorry, I was just saying, Brian. Yeah, you're right. It just doesn't add up.
Well, I'll give you an example, right? Just to stop any dead air and keep a topic going. I did a video there in recent days pointing out how what they claim to be a spherical triangle oxymoron, it's an impossibility. There's no such thing as a spherical triangle. What they have to do is they'll take the exact same length as the opposite, right, of the triangle and the adjacent of the triangle, right? But then because they bend that triangle that you have made on a flat plane over a spherical surface, what happens is the area within the triangle increases because the lines have been bent, right, around the sphere. So the area within the triangle increases. So to adjust that problem, they must then shorten the hypotenuse. Now, the hypotenuse is the length it is because in a real triangle, that's the length it must be. So when they shorten the hypotenuse, not only do they not have a triangle because they don't have a series of straight lines making three angles, three vertexes. They have curved lines making some kind of nonsense. Not only did they not have that, but now they've stepped outside like geometry rules. You can't shorten the hypotenuse and then still, you know, it doesn't work mathematically. You can't keep the opposite and the adjacent the same lengths and shorten the hypotenuse. You can't do that. The hypotenuse is the length it is because of the length of the opposite and the adjacent, right? Now, none of them want to address that, right? But I did have one guy, right, tell me that when he made a triangle, like a real right angle triangle, where he used the length of the opposite I had, the length of the adjacent I had, and the length that his opposite or his the hypotenuse would be if he curved it. Not that it wouldn't really be a hypotenuse when you curve it, but what he's claiming to be, right, which was the same length as the opposite. He started to tell me that the internal area there is less than what it would be on a sphere. Now, I won't point out how he's making my point there, but he's just tried to tell the public that he made a triangle with a hypotenuse, a right angle triangle with a hypotenuse that's shorter than it can be in reality, a real triangle. That's using someone who doesn't know any better, wouldn't spot his absolutely idiotic flaw. Now, he made several flaws in what he showed, but that one thing showed he didn't have a clue what he was talking about. Just showed to anyone who understands you can't shorten the hypotenuse in a real triangle. And that's what he did. He shortened the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the length because of the length of the opposite and the adjacent. So in a real triangle, you can't shorten the hypotenuse. He tried to shorten the hypotenuse in a real triangle. Now, if you don't know any better, you'll think this guy is an authority. You'll think this guy has education and knows something. This guy, whereas what he actually is a well-educated idiot because he doesn't realize there's certain rules to maths and geometry that you can't break. So that's what you're dealing with. Not only did he make my point for me, right? And he didn't realize he made my point. He shortened the hypotenuse of a real triangle, right-angle triangle. You can't do that. It's impossible.
It sounds like he's miseducated. So he's educated, but he didn't get it. He just memorized these things. He didn't see the connections. So it's like miseducated.
Are they teaching him? Are they teaching them different definitions, though? I think when you go into an argument, everybody has to be dealing with the same definitions. And so the problem happens when people are using two different definitions for the same thing, but they don't realize it, right? And they keep arguing. I think the first thing is to ask them, hey, what is your definition of whatever we're arguing about? And then find out if we're even on the same page to begin with, right?
Well, the problem he had was that he was trying to change reality. You can't shorten the hypotenuse of a right-angle triangle. It's that length because it has to be. It can't be the same length as it can't match the opposite because it won't be a right-angle triangle. Do you know what I mean? You can make a different triangle with the same length as but you won't have an opposite. You won't have it. It won't be a right-angle triangle. If you're talking about a right-angle triangle, there's certain things that you must adhere to. So it's not about even definitions. Now, it's not about even definitions. Now, I understand your point, but it's not even about that. It's about this guy's an idiot. But to someone who doesn't know any better could read the comment and think, God, this guy really knows his maths. He really knows what he's talking about. And he doesn't have a clue. He's just showed anyone who understands maths. I'm not a mathematician. And it was obvious that he had just committed mathematical fraud without even realizing it.
Well, what is that? You can fool some of the people most of the time, and most of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
I think it was you can fool all of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time.
There you go.
Seems to me that we're suppressed. They're promoted and elevated. People just go to them.
They elevate folly so that everyone above them seems so smart.
What's going on here? What's 7/6R? Is that a pirate thing?
It is. It's the pirating of reality. It's a mathematical construct that pertains to explain a visual effect, yet not lending any information from actual optics, right? So it's a mathematical construct, 7/6R, that they created to justify why everything appears to be perfectly flat when it's supposed to be spherical. And the literal wording 7/6R can be found in the terrestrial refraction mathematics, if you dig that out. I hope that clarifies things.
Yes, I've had a lot to chew on. 7/6R is a pirate thing.
No.
Put something in the chat about it. About 7/6R.
It sounds very piratey. It is the pirating of reality. It's not literally a pirate thing. It's a ball-believing nerd thing, is what it is.
Do you know the coincidence of it being 7/6R, though? Because in their world, right, 13 is obedience and rebellion, and it happens to be 7 + 6, which is 13. But also 6 is the number of man, and 7 is the number of God. And so they really throw this stuff in there, don't they?
Brian, you poison them, Brian. You poison them.
Oh, I never thought of it like that. I got stuck at R. Isn't that what pirates say? That's where I got stuck.
There's also there's like for roche means head.
Well, and pirates
if
would
we're
have
thinking
had to
symbolically.
understood celestial
well,
navigation.
we all
or
know
how
where this
else would
road
they
ends.
survive, you know?
Hello, we all know where this road ends. In dodos. Dodos. That's where it ends. I'm telling you. Dodos.
Aristarchus.
Aristarchus, you got it, Arwen. You know the score. Arwen's lived through this.
Yes, but to be fair, though, seriously, as a pirate, you would have to know that the Earth is flat because you would have to be capable of doing celestial navigation to just be independent, trying to keep away from the Imperial fleets and all that. So, yeah, if you didn't know the Earth was flat and you weren't capable with celestial navigation, you wouldn't be able to be a pirate. Like a pirate lord would have an eye patch, partially because they use that not to cover up their blind eye, but to use it with the celestial navigation to prevent that eye from becoming completely blinded by the sun shining in their eye. Right? So, yeah. Pirates, celestial
know what?
navigation it's a thing.
You're a genius, just to let you know, because you have no idea what you just did to my brain. Okay, so pirates, right? The reason why pirates are pirates is because they used to be Knights Templars, okay? So the Knights Templars in 1313, right? Friday the 13th, right? They got cut off, right?
No,
Everyone shut up.
Then they witnessed the
Hello.
seven seas.
Let the crazy man talk his nonsense. Go ahead.
Which one?
Pirates come from privateers, thanks. Not Templars. That was way past that. Or maybe you're like talking about the pre-Renaissance pirates, which would have been like the boobies, like Morocco.
Can you let him
not
say it?
Morocco.
Arwen. He was actually saying it. Go ahead.
Anyways, what I was saying is, from the stories that I gather from history, but Arwen can correct me if I'm wrong, that the Knights Templar also became pirates, okay? And that's where we got the Skull and Bones, and then that's why you have Skull and Bones also in Yale. It's all part of the same groups, you know what I mean? And so the Knights Templar actually became bankers, because what they did is they turned on everybody, and then they knew exactly where all the routes were that they were using in the oceans and everything, and they just started hijacking them, and basically the Knights Templar were special forces, and they just basically slaughtered everybody. And then, so they kind of got their revenge, but through all their finances and funds and everything, I mean, eventually they got hunted down and everything. But it ends up they actually started some of the like Scottish rights, you know what I mean? And so, and then the banking system comes kind of from there, you know what I mean? And so, according to the history that I remember, that's the way it went. So the 1313, and then now it's 76R. And then you're talking about pirates. It all fits together in my conspiracy brain.
Alrighty then. Right, but yeah, I mean, the Templars in a way may have invented the whole controlled opposition group things, which is typically used now even in the CIA. It's a terrible thing. Is basically control your own opposition. So what they did do, and they abused it in their banking schemes, is ally with assassins and with the barbers, the pirates, who was like a strong pirate clan at the time. They were the enemy, but they made deals with them. So it's like making deals with the enemy and like sort of becoming a separate faction. It's just all very covert, very tricky, right? Because everybody else thought, oh, those are just the enemy. No, but they actually secretly made deals. And it's because of really all that treachery inside business that eventually like the church was like, oh, you're doing that, are you? Okay, well, we're supposed to be the only ones that are allowed to do that. So you die now because you're doing it against us behind our back.
Got a question.
Go on, Kiwi.
I got a question. Are you saying Jack Sparrow was a Knights Templar?
No.
Could have been the son of one, maybe.
No. Jack Sparrow is a fictional character taken from a theme park ride.
Correct.
I've been on that ride 3 times. I'm sorry.
Therefore, he's real.
And it's Renaissance era. Jack Sparrow's all Renaissance era, right? When the ship's already really going around. When you're talking about Templars, you're talking about like medieval times. It's before all that.
How do we know that the stories of yore weren't similar to the stories we get today, but they were fictional stories about people like Copernicus or people like whoever from way back when? I didn't mean Copernicus. I was going to say Aristophanes, should have said. But, you know, that could have been the fictional stories that we were fed. They've just become part of our history, where they started off as tales. Jack Sparrow could be no
Kind of
different.
like Benjamin Franklin.
Maybe.
It's all based on when it starts appearing in literature. So Jack Sparrow's very recent, late 19th century, 20th century, sorry. So no references before that.
My point is that once you figure out that they've fiddled with history to the point where you really can't trust much of it, the only stuff that you could probably trust goes back within a couple of generations of when you actually live. Because beyond that, it's so distorted that you can't trust it anymore. So what's to say that how do these things come to pass then? If you've got a narrative about a fictional character that just happens to suit your ends, you introduce it like Jack Sparrow, and then slowly over time, it merges into part of history. I'm just speculating.
Well, that's what they did with the Marvel Universe, right? They even literally got Thor in there. Like, what is Marvel Universe? It's a set of mythological superheroes that are even arguably demigods, even literally, just like the old Greek mythology pantheon gods. And that's what they have become. People suspected they would become that, and they did. And that's how they're being used now. To look up to and like, oh, wow, look at what the Superman figure is doing now. Just like in old times, they would listen to the elders telling story about the gods, what they were up to.
So everybody lies except us.
No, we lie too. Everybody lies. It's a more accurate statement. Everybody.
No, but it's not about lying. It's just missing information. So we take a lot of things for granted that in retrospect turned out to be based on nothing. That doesn't mean that you lied about it all. It's just that you thought you knew. It turned out you didn't, but you went with it anyway. And that's how a lot is created.
That statement was given to me by my barrister when I was suing an ex-employer, or taking them to a tribunal, I should say. And there was several, if not all of them, witnesses from my opposition, the company I formerly worked for, that all lined up one after the next and lied. Now, obviously, I was quite exasperated. I smile about it now, it's many years ago. But I turned to my barrister, who's working for me pro bono, because she thought it was an interesting case. And I said to her in my exasperation, but they're all lying, right? And she said, with no hint of irony, everybody lies. And she turned around and walked off. Everybody lies.
I don't know about that.
I'm just telling you what my barrister told me. I'm just saying that's what she said in the moment when I was all red-faced and angry because people who I'd worked with and trusted were more than happy to stand in front of a judge and lie. Now I'm crying perjury and all this crap. She's grounding me by saying, yeah, everybody lies.
What if people don't know they're lying?
These people did, but we won't get into that.
Right. Well, a lot of people think they're telling the truth and they just don't know. So they just copy the form as they foresaw it or as they've seen other people's conversations about it. So, right, that's how a lot of ball belief goes around, right? Because it's by word of mouth. You copy how somebody describes and like, oh, cool, I get that. I can describe that too. You don't go check whether it's actually true or not, where it came from. So this is just a human habit. It's a word of mouth, what it's called.
Tell you something. I'll tell you a story, Arwen, about being the only one right. I went to a pre-basic. Can I tell this story real quick?
I'm going to go in now. Of course you can. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, thanks, man. You almost made me cry, like right there. My heart almost broke. So we went to this pretty basic thing because I was 28 when I went in the military. You know what I'm saying? So went to this pretty basic thing. You kind of learn how to go in there, and they got old ex-drill sergeants. This dude happened to be a cop and everything. There's a lot of good stories in here, but it'll make this one short. So they taught everybody how to properly stand behind the table and your chair, and then they were teaching us that when the command sergeant major walked in, but dude, that guy was I mean, like, he looked like a command sergeant major. He had a big, deep voice and everything. Man, he was scary even at that time. You know what I mean? So all these kids are in here and everything, and I'm in there. There's a couple of us that are a little bit older, and so they taught us how to stand there, which was you stand behind your chair, and then they say at ease, and then you stand there with your hands behind your back, and then he comes in, and then they say take seats, and you pull your seat out and you sit down, and then Command Sergeant Major will do whatever he's going to do, right? Okay, well, they all lost their mind. So I'm standing there, we're behind our chairs, they say at ease, right? Everybody grabs their chair and sits down. Everybody. Except the one dude that's standing like literally in the front row, right in front of the podium. There's just one dude standing there behind his chair at ease, waiting for the next command, which is take seats. Problem is, every single person in the room around me, all 30 of them, were all sitting down already, except for me. Except that I was following the rules. Kind of nerdy of me, right? And so Command Sergeant Major, big dude, along with his all officers and stuff come in, and they're all at the podium, and they're looking right at me. And they're like, what is your problem, Private? Why are you not sitting down like the rest of the privates? And I stood there at a 28-year-old dude that had a family and went to work and had jobs and was security and arrested people, and they got a lot of stuff in my life at that point. And I turned and I looked at everybody around me to the left. And then I turned and I looked at everybody to my right, and I looked at the Command Sergeant Major, and I pulled out that seat and I sat down. And then he's like, maybe you should pay attention next time. So, needless to say, we went to chow later in the day, and the drill sergeants were like, said my name really loud across the whole thing. And I was just like, oh, snap, here it comes. And I know I didn't do anything wrong earlier, and everybody's looking at me like, oh, we remember what he did earlier. And so in a really loud voice, he said my last name, and he's like, do you remember earlier? And everybody's like looking at the chow hall. He's like, you were absolutely correct. And you absolutely did the right thing by not outing your fellow soldiers, right? And so even though I was doing the right thing, even though I was saying the right thing, there's such thing as teamwork and a temporary insanity clause that allows you to have an AAR afterwards to let them know where they messed up without embarrassing everybody in front of the whole sergeant major. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes,
so you were right, and then you were doubly right, but you still got shouted at.
yeah, and then they made me platoon leader, and then I didn't have to work the rest of the time.
Wait.
Right,
But
because you were
anyway,
level-headed.
there's a lot more there.
Owen wants to ruin the end of your story.
What?
That's all right.
It's just it's all right.
I also saved a guy from going to jail there, and then it ends up that guy actually became part of my unit, and we were in the same platoon, and it was all because that I saved his ass there, because I believed in him, because I can feel hearts, and I can tell he wasn't lying, and so I stuck up for him when nobody else did, and he didn't go to jail, and then they just kind of let him go, but he actually came back. But he went to the unit, and then he went over there, combat infantry. He was probably one of the best people in the unit, lost his leg, and I guess I'm not proud of that part, but he did what he wanted to, and so life is like a real fine balance between truth and like not hurting people's feelings, So I don't know. I'll shut up.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. That was brilliant.
Losing leg part was a bit dark, but I guess that happens.
Not that story. Bloody hell.
It was later, but I'm just saying, like, due to him serving in the military and him being all hua and like squared away and this dude was like, man, I'm telling you, there's some stories about him in Charlie Company. You know, oh, it's in the book, and that's Staten. If you see Staten in the book, that's Staten. And so, oh, I don't know what I was saying, but
I blame Arwen. He ruined
Shameful
it.
plug. Shameful
Ruined
plug.
that story. Ruined it.
Oh, thanks. Sorry.
No, that's a good story. Thank you for sharing that with us.
no problem. Oh, yeah. Anyways, so Staten's in the book. Anyways, oh yeah, he lost his leg because of something else afterwards. But he has a new leg and everything. It's all titanium. Pretty cool guy.
What you described there with the sitting down thing is taken to the absolute extreme by our ball-believing brethren. That is to say that you can say the most dumb thing imaginable, and the people around you, so long as you believe you're on a ball, will tap you on the back and talk at cross purposes for as long as is necessary for it to be forgotten about. They'll never correct each other. They'll never critique each other. They'll never say that they've made a mistake. That's not what they do. And that proves a ball, you say. Well done, good job.
They just put it over one comb and make it all political, don't they? It's disgusting. It's like, oh, you're
actually is
correct
kinda
because you're on
scary,
that
though.
side. Or, oh, you're incorrect because you're on the other side. So it's just overlooking the actual information and just making it all political.
Well, they're avoiding a very, very big thing that nobody talks about. Let's just say it's flat. Now what? You see, that's the part in their brain that they refuse to go to, and they will place that globe between them and that ice wall if it's the last thing they ever do.
What ice wall?
Yeah, what ice wall?
I don't know. It's got to be something. I don't know if it's flat. It's got to be something out there, man.
Oh, you
Holding
weren't,
the water
you
in,
weren't being
you know.
metaphorical. You were being literal. Oh dear. What ice wall?
Something has to be out.
Okay,
How
well-
do you know something has to be out
Well,
there?
Okay, fine. The water goes forever. You're good.
No, not forever. It just might just
Hold on.
happen.
Don't do that. Just because we say we don't know doesn't mean we've got to suddenly wrap it up in some alternate false dichotomy. Not knowing is not knowing, but you're saying ice wall.
Oh, I was just like trying to be like in a neutral position where I just say the thing that most people believe that I thought. Now, if you guys have a different thing, I will add that to my repertoire.
Fine. You were
know what I
adding
mean?
it in as not a figure of speech, but a metaphor for there's got to be something beyond what they know as a globe, and that's the bit they're scared of looking at, regardless of what it may be. Your turn of phrase
Yes.
was they can't see to the ice wall. Fine, I can accept that. That's not going to get too much critique now. You've qualified it.
Okay, symbolically, yes.
Yeah, absolutely they can't, and that terrifies them. Terrifies them and amuses me greatly. That is the pain we describe, isn't it? When we say share your pain, because we've pointed out something that would draw them to that conclusion.
What does that mean, though? I mean, like, what? Okay, so am I able to ask you, or I mean, I don't know if we're online or whatever, but am I able to ask you what you think would be if it's flat? What would you think would be farther out? I mean, if you're just guessing or something, no, you're
I
not.
can only
being,
go by past experience
put on
in
the
terms of
spot.
what has happened in our recent history and what shows to be the case with the maps. So the first thing I did was look at maps with, although he's not called this anymore, Mappy Martin, as people used to call him, because he was riddled with the stuff. They were everywhere in his mum's house when he used to live with her when she was alive. Excuse me. And that's all I looked at. The progression. How does the territory change over time through maps? And they find new worlds out in space. That would be the horizon and the lands that they don't know they're going to find. Well, you see this progression of finding lands, then we have the globe, and that all stops. Now, if you're going to ask me what I would think would happen if we were not supposedly prevented from going further than... Oh, my kid's piping up. You okay, Clover? If we are to believe that we're stopped at a certain point, yeah, I'll take that as read. notwithstanding that we're stopped at a certain point, I don't know if that's the case, then I would assume that would just continue as it did at about the same rate. That's what I think would happen. If you want to know my subjective, very, very subjective opinion on this.
Okay, so here's the thing I have about the
there's
ice part.
speculation. There's a speculation, or hearsay, where this guy talks about when he was stationed in Antarctica and how he heard stories of quote unquote sky ice. What they did is they went inland, I guess, and tried to dig a hole through some ice, and they couldn't go deeper after some point. So I don't know if they just called it sky ice, but then again, everything that I just said is just what somebody else heard while they were stationed in Antarctica. So
Sounds like a fantastic science fiction story. That absolutely didn't
Well,
happen.
there is ice, right? Isn't there ozone ice? It's blue, right?
Notice
Liquid
nobody
ozone
wanted to
ice.
back you. You go ahead. You tell us.
The deep Arctic ice is really blue. It's the really clear water. When it freezes up, it becomes blue. When it's salty, it's green.
Okay. And
Then...
you said there is or must be ice. Then you said there's ice and ozone.
Oh.
Then we had a discussion about the color.
I was trying to figure out what they were talking about this sky ice, and I was thinking, well, if it's sky ice, it would have to be up pretty high, pretty cold, and so that would be up where the ozone layer is. And then I remember that there was this thing that they made, which is ozone ice, and they actually made a piece of it, and they were trying to explain something. Anyways, that was onto that. But even my whole ice thing is like, is that the sun melts the ice. And the sun goes around a northern point, which means it only goes out so far and then it stops, which means everything past that point, unless there's a sun out there or thermal heating, but no light, then it's going to be icy. And so I'm not saying that there isn't land underneath that. I'm not going to say that. There could very well be that, like, I'm going to say in my world, pre-flood, before the flood and then everything iced over, that it possibly could be lands out there. Who knows how far? I will definitely say that. But right now, it seems like the sun is what melts the ice. So that's why I was going off the whole ice wall thing. I just figured there'd probably be something there beyond the reach of the sunlight.
So I take it you're a disk earther, and you
on,
think that
hold on.
the sun is in a literal position hovering over a disk, do you?
Yeah, he's saying that the sun melts the ice. What ice?
Well, it would have to be the ice ring then that you reify into Earth as a disk, surrounded by an ice ring.
I just assumed it would be colder away from the sun. Oh.
Well, away from the sun, you say?
Okay, no, hold on, Owen. That's a reasonable assumption. We just don't know.
I'm sorry, but where's this actual sun position in order to have a actual distance towards it, causing things melting?
I don't even challenge him on that. I don't.
It's like 6,000 miles away.
No. You have to do that. I'm sure you're being sarcastic. I'll take it as you are, even if you aren't. Right? No, Arwin. I don't reject how we've tracked the sun to move over the land, and it's been useful in terms of mapping it. And I'm not prepared to just say no, it doesn't work like that. There's been distortions of the maps, and we know that. But in terms of the further you go out, limiting your range to the sun, which presumably has a point that it will reach suddenly, that it doesn't go beyond in terms of our summer-winter cycle. Now, if you go beyond that, it's going to get colder. But where the gentleman says, I assume it will just continue to do so, well, I can't make that assumption because I don't know what is beyond there. I'm not going to even speculate. Or second sun, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate that because I don't know that either. But I just don't know doesn't lead me to think, well, it will just keep getting colder. I don't know that.
Right. And if you want to know more about speculations of what could be, then go to my channel because I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I've not got anything against people speculating either. We're doing it right now.
Doing the code. You only know what you know when you know it.
Yeah, but you can know what could be. You can know to
Here we
a
go.
certain degree what
Bloody
you
hell.
don't know. That's also interesting.
Yeah, very, very. We don't know what we don't know, but we could know what we don't know when we don't know it. We'll know it, but we didn't now because we don't know it now. But we could know it in future when we know it, and we'd know that we didn't know it now when we didn't know it. Fascinating stuff, eh?
Yeah. Summarized, we don't know it yet, but we can know about what it could be.
Yes,
and we can exclude about what it could be.
A continuation
based on
wasn't
what we
needed.
know.
That sarcastic summary wasn't a cue to expand on it. But there we go.
It's me. What do you expect?
In any event, good show. As always, I had one eye on the computer, but still, got to do a little bit of testing when you get on a new component, and I'm very pleased. It hasn't crashed. Happy days.
I made myself a member. For you, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
I just don't want to be one of the other people, you know.
Other what people?
The people who don't give you money every month to hear your voice. You know, I just want to like say
I've got
that
a very, very
I'm on your
supportive
team, bro.
crowd. And I'm very thankful to all of them. But on that note, I am going to say, along with a massive thank you to everyone who supported me to get this computer to the point where it will do a 3-hour and 37-minute stream. Huge thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible, of course. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!